This the city of Chicago.
What's up, Chicago? I'm Erin Allen. This is The Rundown. Yeah, the DNC is in town.
Thank you, Chicago, for your energy.
And you probably have a vision in your mind of what that means. 1, a party nominates a candidate, and 2, speeches.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
However,
I tell you what,
it may seem silly to say this, but what if I told you the Democratic National Convention is an actual convention?
Hi, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Kelly Jacobs. I'm a delegate from Mississippi.
Hello. Okay.
Like, you know, where a bunch of folks from a particular industry meet up and network.
Yeah, I mean, so we've got some house music DJs right now. We have manicures going on. There's like, you can get a candle.
And you know, at any conference or convention, there will be vendors.
Oh, but then we got this sexy one over here, lemon blueberry cheesecake. That was my very first gourmet flavor.
Giving away swag.
Well, we create patches that speak to the culture. Patches that make statements.
And selling their wares.
Tell me, who are you and what are you doing here today?
I'm a entrepreneur, but I like to call myself a beepreneur.
Sometimes unexpected stuff.
The way I make my money is through bees, and bees, it's a rabbit hole. When you get into them, it's a rabbit hole.
So outside of the big speeches every night, what are people actually doing at the DNC? On the first day of the convention, me and a crew from WBEZ went to McCormick Place to find out. Now, there were only a few vendors that had actual lines of people waiting for them.
What color would you like your accent nail? Red? Sure, let's do red.
One of them was Ebony Anderson, the owner of Nail Issues Nail Spa.
So currently we're offering the Kamala manicures. One design has like stars and pearls. And then the other one is a Converse shoe. And we put like a star and some pearls around the cuticle area.
Not really an expected service to be offered at a DNC vendor event.
Right.
Tell me how you ended up here.
Yeah. Basically, I received a call from a former client, and she asked me would I be interested, and I said sure.
So can I ask, are you a Kamala supporter? Are you a Democrat?
I don't discuss political issues because, you know, I'm in a workplace.
Of course.
Political or religious issues. However, I will say change is good, and it's time for things to be evened out.
Okay.
I'll say that.
I can appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, some of the conversations I had were a reminder that just because you're at the DNC doesn't necessarily mean it's all politics.
Breaking right now at noon, 2 Delta workers confirmed dead after an incident at the airline's maintenance facility in Atlanta.
Another worker is seriously injured. Atlanta News First Don Shipman is with the First Alert breaking news tracker at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Don, what do we know?
Well, we know that one surviving victim was rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital, badly injured, and like you said, 2 other Delta workers were killed when a tire exploded. More on that in just a moment. But first, I want to kind of give you a sense of where we are. We're at the international terminal right here. The main airport is over there. But if you take a look behind me right there, you can see the hangar in question where this all happened early this morning is right back there. I want you to take a closer look because you can see a plane sitting right in front of the main doors to that hangar. This is a maintenance hangar, so it's where the planes are checked over. There's routine maintenance that's performed on planes, and repairs are made as well. So in this case, we've confirmed that one of the tires on a Delta plane exploded somehow, killing 2 maintenance workers and badly hurting a third. This all happening right around 5 o'clock this morning, and this is what it sounded like when first responders got onto the scene and were calling back in dispatch.
1775 Main H. Jackson Jr. Boulevard, Delta TOC 3, door number 28. Reference to an explosion.
Show truck 41 en route.
Copy that, truck 41 showing you en route.
We got a total of 3 victims. 1 victim being transported by Medic 2 to Grady Hospital. The other two victims are 48.
And I want you to take a look at your screen right here, because this statement is from Delta. Delta, again, confirming that 2 of its employees were killed this morning. We've confirmed that it's due to a tire that exploded. They are sending their condolences to those workers' families, and they also say that they are working with local authorities to figure out exactly what happened. No doubt that there will be an investigation, and Delta says they are cooperating with all of that. I've also learned that there is going to be counselors being made available to workers who may need to talk to someone about losing one of their coworkers. We're live here at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
All right, Don, thank you very much. I want to share this statement now from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, who wrote, "I offer my deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of the deceased Delta employees. My thoughts are also with those who were injured, and I hope for their swift and full recovery." The mayor goes on to say Atlanta Fire Rescue, Atlanta Police, and airport crews are on the scene working diligently to address the situation. We're going to stay on top, of course, of all of this throughout the day. We'll bring you updates throughout this newscast.
Simple fact is, Anderson, we got 2 cultures down here. White culture and the colored culture. Now, that's the way it always has been. That's the way it always will be.
The rest of America don't see it that way, Mr. Mayor.
The rest of America don't mean jack shit. You in Mississippi now.
Want to walk this way?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
First stop is Davis Farm in Winona, about an hour north of Jackson. The owner, John Paul Davis, walks around. He starts listing some of the different crops he grows.
You'll see I have watermelons here, I have some zucchini there, and then squash on the other side.
Davis decided to become a farmer after retiring from decades as a deputy sheriff and working other state jobs. His kids were skeptical.
Yeah. What did they think when you started farming?
Daddy done lost his mind.
Before long, he started attending field days, hosted by a group known as the Alliance of Sustainable Farms. It's a statewide network of small, mostly black-owned farms in Mississippi. There, Davis learned about ways to produce more while using fewer resources. For him, sustainable agriculture means not using pesticides and using less water with a special kind of irrigation that gets water directly to the roots. He thinks it makes his crops healthier, and that's important to him.
Because one thing about it, I eat it first.
One way the Alliance helps farmers is with monthly trainings on things like landscape fabric to suppress weeds instead of using pesticides. They also have anchor farms. These are farms that have experience and equipment to share. And one of those anchor farms is our second stop. James Brewer is using a pea shelling machine at his farm in Greenwood, Mississippi. He enjoys being part of the Alliance.
Because you get to meet a whole lot of people, you get to do a whole lot of things, and also, if you need something, if you talk long enough, he'll provide it for you.
Rather than every farm buying their own, Brewer allows other farmers to use his pea sheller. Alliance members share resources because it's harder for small farmers to have the money to afford what they need. Keith Benson is the Alliance's director. He says small farms are the majority of producers, but it's large-scale farms that make up most of the U.S.'s farm income.
When I hear stuff like that, what it says to me is groups like the Alliance and others have to do a better job of accessing those resources.
There are billions of federal dollars available for climate-smart agriculture. Some small farmers are taking advantage of it. Benson says the Alliance received $1 million. That's enough to grow membership from 16 farms to more than 100. So more farmers can use certified organic seeds and host demonstrations.
So the logic is that they are demonstrating and promoting the adoption of all these innovative climate-smart conservation practices. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Our last farm is in Marks, Mississippi, up in the Mississippi Delta. Robbie Pollard started farming in 2019, mostly teaching himself through YouTube videos. Now he's also an anchor farm, which includes hosting field days.
I want to welcome y'all to my farm, start to finish farm.
He's showing his farm to a group of students from Alcorn State University and other colleges to learn more about climate-smart agriculture.
Look around and just, if you have any questions, just don't hesitate to ask.
Yes, I do. All right. Thank you.
As he harvests crops like tomatoes and eggplants, Pollard says these practices are a return to the basics. If you look back in history, many black farmers used some of the techniques considered sustainable or regenerative, such as growing a variety of crops to improve soil health.
We've been doing like regenerative ag before. It was a thing. That's something that we just always practice, is regenerative agriculture.
He says it's a good thing that they can now get funding to continue and build on those practices. For the Gulf States Newsroom, I'm Denny MacArthur.
You keep it going, man. You keep those books rolling. You pick up all those books that you're going to read and not remember, and you roll, man. You get that associate's degree, okay? Then you get your bachelor's. Then you get your master's. Then you get your master's. Then you get your doctorate. You go, man. Then when everybody says quit, you show them those degrees, man. When everyone says, hey, you're not working, you're not making any money, you say, you look at my degrees and you look at my life. Yeah, I'm 52. So what? Hate all you want, but I'm smart. I'm so smart. And I'm in school. These guys out here making money all these ways, and I'm spending mine to be smart. You know why? Because when I die, buddy, you know what's going to keep me warm? That's right, those degrees.
For generations, a four-year college degree was considered key to achieving middle-class success in America. That might be changing.
Yeah, during last week's Democratic National Convention, former President Barack Obama said a four-year degree is just one way of getting there. The Democratic vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz, agrees.
People gain experience in many different ways.
As governor of Minnesota, Walz signed an executive order to eliminate the four-year college requirement for 75% of government jobs in the state. Here's what he said when he announced the policy last fall.
We think this is an exciting way to kind of pivot away, a new mindset of valuing work, valuing skills.
Michelle Griffith covers state politics and policy for the Minnesota Reformer, an independent nonprofit newsroom.
The government is one of Minnesota's largest employers with over 38,000 positions. And the thought here was that you don't need a four-year degree to do many of the jobs. And Minnesota has been in a labor shortage the past couple of years, especially since COVID. And so this was also a move to try to fill some of those open positions.
So we're talking about 25,000 jobs, right, in Minnesota that all of a sudden became available to a wider pool of people.
Yes, that's correct.
Did people start filling up those jobs? How did that work after that?
You know, I reached out to the state's budget agency, and they said they don't have data of how many state employees were hired since then. One of Governor Walz's goals has been to hire more people of color in state jobs, which the rate has historically been pretty low. So this was also a move to try to reach people of color and make those positions more accessible.
How did Republicans in the state legislature react to the order? Did they support it, or is it one of those strictly party line things?
I don't think this is a party line issue. Governors across the country have also eliminated this kind of four-year degree requirement for their state jobs, both Democratic and Republican governors.
Michelle Griffith covers state politics and policy for the nonprofit news organization Minnesota Reformer. Michelle, thanks.
Thank you.
Since 2022, more than a dozen states have taken steps to lower the entry barrier for government jobs by dropping the four-year college requirement. So we wondered what this might mean for the next generation of American workers and the value of a college degree.
ZipRecruiter chief economist Julia Pollack has looked into this issue.
It very much extends to the private sector. Many major companies have done the same thing, including IBM, Dell, Bank of America. There's a long list of household name companies.
What specific industry jobs does this affect? Is it only for entry-level jobs, or what kind of specific jobs are we talking about?
Now, this can affect a wide range of jobs in business services like HR, finance, payroll. It can affect the kinds of jobs where you do require some training, but most of the training that's relevant is provided on the job. So in skilled trades, even in some healthcare fields. So it really extends to a very wide range of jobs. You know, many degrees sort of are there to teach you how to think, but they don't actually teach you how to do the job. And that's what many, many roles in America require.
What economic or social forces are driving this shift?
I think there are many, many different shifts here underway. One is that the college degree is becoming more prevalent. So ever more of the workforce is college educated. Graduation rates are going up, but the kinds of proficiency test scores that we look at, numeracy, literacy, many of those are actually going down. So the degree may be losing its value as sort of everyone has one and they don't necessarily capture competence. The other issue is just that there is increasing focus on how to remove unnecessary barriers to opportunity, how to alleviate staffing shortages, which are here to stay across many, many industries, and how to build a more diverse and inclusive workforce. And these kinds of measures help serve all of those goals.
How much of this do you think is generational, Julia? Because I'm Gen X. My granddaughters just started high school. I have a tough time telling them that, hey, maybe you don't need a college degree. I don't know. It's just been ingrained in me as the son of immigrant parents to really strive for that college degree.
I mean, for me too, right? I came to the United States from South Africa in order to go to Harvard and get a degree. And that was sort of the definition in my family's mind of setting me up for success. And, my degree, I think, is largely to be credited with the success I've had in my career. So I definitely don't think it's a good idea to tell a young person not to go to school. If you are the kind of person who will thrive at school, who will be able to complete your college degree, by all means, go and do it. If it's not going to bankrupt your family and put you in enormous debt, by all means, go and do it. But it's not the only path. And it's not necessarily even the best path for everyone. There are so many people who start college degrees only to drop out midway with a huge debt burden without any kind of benefit for their career searches. There are countries like Germany that make a much larger investment in the non-college educated population, and where that population is staying in the workforce, where their participation rates are rising, and where they are thriving and earning more and getting better jobs.
Looking at what's going on with the presidential election, how much of what we're seeing here could be slightly political in terms of like how a party identifies with a particular person and their educational level?
So I think both parties are very self-consciously appealing to the middle class. And most Americans define themselves as middle class. And so it definitely makes sense to embrace the kinds of policies that expand opportunity for the majority of Americans.
Julia Pollack is the chief economist at ZipRecruiter. Julia, thanks.
Thank you.
So, hey, Layla, this reminds me of a story that we had on the show last week with NPR education reporter Corey Turner. He was reporting on that study of middle and high school students, and it found an optimism gap between students who said they planned to go to college and those who did not. Here's Corey speaking with Zach Ranowski, a senior education researcher at Gallup.
Even the kids who are like, I don't want to go to college, what are they hearing the most about? College. We're not talking to them about apprenticeships, internships, starting a business, entrepreneurial aspirations, jobs that don't require a college degree.
So it's not just a matter of creating opportunities for students who don't go to college, it's making sure that they hear about those opportunities as well.
All the white people in Australia who were really prisoners that have been, they were prisoners that were so bad they didn't even want them to stay in the country. So they shipped them all over to Australia. Australia is made up of white people who were what you call throwaway white people. I mean, they just couldn't do nothing with them. I mean, so they, hey, send them thousands of miles away. We don't even want them in prisons here. They're too awful, okay? So when they got to Australia, they just started slaughtering all the non-white people who were already in Australia, of which the numbers were huge. Now it's down to nothing almost, called Aborigines. And even in the islands around there, the New Hebrides and all like that, they just went in and started slaughtering people, right and left. All of the dark-skinned people. And then this took over. Now they got a history of being respectable and all the rest of it and whatnot.
Before our last story tonight, let me ask you a question. How are the Monday blues treating you? At what point did they unleash the wrath? Was it that email you checked as soon as you opened your eyes this morning? Or did the blues never end in the first place thanks to that super duper urgent project over the weekend? We are not stalking you. This is just a sign of the times, of the blurring lines between work life and personal life. But if you are in Australia, we have good news for you. Starting today, this blurry line is outlawed. Australia has introduced a new law. It is called the right to disconnect. It offers relief to workers across the country. They will no longer have to take their work home. If the workday is over, people can ignore office-related communication, be it texts, calls or emails, without the fear of being punished. If bosses fail to comply with the law, they will have a heavy price to pay. They will be fined. How much? About $13,000 for an employee and $64,000 for companies. But before you sue your boss, do know that there's a catch. There always is. The law does not ban contact after work hours. It simply gives staff the right not to reply. So your boss can still email you at midnight, but you don't have to read it. You have the passive-aggressive but legal right to ignore. Because the idea is this. If you aren't being paid 24 hours a day, you should not be penalized for not being available 24 hours a day. Simple enough. And how are people taking it? Unsurprisingly, Australian workers are overjoyed. They have welcomed the move.
I think it's actually really important that we have laws like this. We spend so much of our time connected to our phones, connected to our emails all day. And I think that it's really hard to switch off as it is. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
But not everyone is happy with the law. Critics cite two problems. Despite the law, workers in high-pressure industries or the service industry could feel obliged to always be on. This is the first problem. And it is true. Not all workers are equal under this law.
I think it's an excellent idea. I hope it catches on. I doubt it'll catch on in our industry, to tell the truth, though.
And why not?
Well, you know, we are professionals. We're well paid. We're expected to deliver, and we feel we have to deliver 24 hours a day if we have to. So the phone's always on, the computer's always on, and we're working.
That being said, critics, especially some employers, cite a second problem. They say disconnecting from work after hours will hurt productivity. But this is a myth. Years of research says so. Unpaid overtime work is bad for employee well-being. Less of it promotes work-life balance. This leads to less stress, less tiredness, more happiness and personal fulfillment. So when people show up to work, they feel more refreshed. They have better productivity. And this is not all theoretical. We are already seeing the right to disconnect in action. You see, the law may be new to Australia, but about 20 other countries already have it, including South American and Asian nations. But no one disconnects like Europe. France pioneered the law in 2017. It was the first country to introduce it. Others followed suit. Recently, a study was conducted across companies covered by the law in Europe. 70% workers saw a positive impact. They reported better work-life balance and higher productivity. Now, the right to disconnect is fairly new, but so far science approves of it. So do most workers. But here's a quick reality check. This law will not work everywhere. Sure, the right gives people an out, but not everyone wants to take it. Sometimes out of guilt, sometimes out of fear, because at this point, overwork is also a cultural phenomenon. And changing that requires more than just a law. It demands greater awareness and acceptance. Acceptance of the fact that work is a crucial part of life. It is not life. And we should work because we want to. No matter the reason, joy, money, personal fulfillment, there is nothing wrong with working during a weekend, nothing wrong with checking an email first thing in the morning, but as long as you want to, not because you're obligated to, not out of the fear of punishment. So our point here is quite simple. The right to disconnect is a welcome change for those who want to disconnect. It can restore balance and strengthen boundaries. But remember that our boundaries are not just for others, they're also for ourselves. So until there is an internal shift, we will never achieve the true right to disconnect. Think about it.
context of white supremacy. Gus T. Renegade in for another broadcast, hopefully to share constructive information on the system of white supremacy. Just sounds and such, and timing even. The fact that they have been talking about the right to disconnect in Australia specifically. They've been talking about that the latter half of Australia. Now we've been saturated for a good month almost with ray gun, suspected race soldier. Now, when I think of Australia, I got the breakdancing kangaroo crip walk in my brain computer. So when they went to all of that, I was thinking, oh, was that the breakdancing? And nothing to do with breakdancing, just white people in Australia, right to disconnect over the weekend, maybe. Neutralizing Workplace Racism, our weekly forum, not for spectators, going into a holiday weekend, no less. So hopefully people got through all the holiday nonsense, build up to all that safely, and are looking forward to what they call a, what is this, a 4-day weekend, right? Maybe you got Monday off, so you will be chilling hard until Tuesday, maybe even longer, but at minimum until Tuesday. I know, now, for some people, this is the calm before ruination, because for some, if it hasn't already, Labor Day means the Tuesday after is day one. You have my sympathies, unless you're one of those people that you work at, I don't know, miniature golf or something, movie theater or something, where all of the unsupervised children who have not been in school for the past 3 months, where they have been harassing you unsupervised since June. Hey, our party time, our Mistress Day is here. You just hang in there for what, about 3-4 more days, sisters and brothers, and they will be back in school. You can put them off on the educators, white women. They'll fill them full of Ritalin and put them in detention. Any hoodles, not for spectators. If you have figured out now, if you put in your time off request way back in March, you know they always have an amazing end of summer shindig, barbecue, veggie dogs, veggie burgers, grilled asparagus, you name it, they do it up for the end of summer. Shooby-doo. You put your time off request in, you know I need at least 4 days to get ready. I'm going to take off Wednesday. I'm going to be right by Saturday. We're going to do it up. Might be Wednesday before I have my mind back ready and can go to work. You put your time off request in. They don't come and email you, text you at 3 in the morning. Look here, Leroy. We're going to have to revoke, rescind your vacay. I know you were excited about the Labor Day shindig, got that vegan potato salad all ready, but now you can bring it in. We got a potluck, but we're going to have to work all through the weekend and might have to text you all night long too. They don't do none of that. You are compensated correctly. They don't come and do no snooping and nosing. Who you think you going to vote for? You think you going to go and support Kamala with what you think? You going to stick in there with our good brother Trump? They don't do none of that. They talk to you about work-related matters. You all have a policy of safety, and it's enforced at all times. You all don't have explosions, pipes burst, roof caves in, or nothing else, vehicles tire fly off of, and all that. None of that. None of that. We are all about safety. Don't you put that Boeing label on us. We are about safety. You know, at some jobs they'll keep a tally. We've had 29 days since our last workplace accident. That's the type of place that we work in. We brag. We go, months at a time. Nobody even gets a paper cut around here because we're safe and paperless. If that's your work environment, we are begging on bended knee. Veggie dog in hand. Come on, please tell us, how did you do this? We got to be able to mimic at least a few of the details, at least the safety part. Maybe we can mimic that. Everybody wants to be safe in the workplace. Give us as much detail as possible if you are safe, well paid, and not a victim of racism in your workplace. The number 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Should say we're starting the new school year. We did it last year. We've had many programs. In fact, before we had young people on. If they want to let us know what's on their mind, start of a new school year. Are you going to a new school? I know for some places now, COVID is back. Let us know, like, do you have to wear a mask? Are they talking about all this again? They talk about vaccines in some places. Like, oh man, if we have young people, if they want to chat it up about, what we taught or what's transpired since we last spoke with any of the little people, and or what's on their mind at the start of a brand new academic year, drop Gus an email untiljustice@gmail.com. We will gleefully make time to speak with the young folks about what is going on in the area of education. That said, a listener emailed me a report, and we talked about retreats, outings, and such. Sometimes they'll have like team building days and such, where we're going to go to Mount Rainier if we were here in the Seattle area. Or we're all going to go to Green Lake and have a barbecue for Labor Day, that type of thing. We'll all go miniature golfing or ultimate frisbee or whatever. These types of outings. I've been at other jobs where we did, I think 4th of July. We went to a park there. We was in California. There's a park really close by, and they went out and played basketball. All this. I didn't do any of the basketball. I didn't eat anything. Same thing. I hadn't even read Mr. Fuller. Didn't have any code, but I had enough sense. Might swango my 7th. No. And I was practicing disciplined vegan at the time, so I did not drink a cup of water. I did not eat one cracker. I spectated. What they call it, I was a teetotaler. Actually, that's not even accurate because I didn't even drink no water. So I wasn't even a teetotaler. I was dehydrated. I just sat and observed. Oh, no, thank you. I'm good. No, thank you. No veggie dog for me. No hot dog for me. I'm good. Thank you. It looks great. Y'all did a great job. Oh, look at the time. Well, it's been fun. You all have a grand old time. I'll see everyone. That is exactly about how it went. Spoke. Don't be a mute. Speak. Good to see you, Ted. Hi, Margaret. Nice to see you. Speak, smile. I didn't come to be mum, but I did not come to digest one turkey nugget. Now, normally they don't get too exotic, although we've had listeners who said, hey, we got to trek, 200 miles down the road and have some sort of get together and all that, go to a bar and all this old nonsense. Like, once they start getting into stuff where we got to leave city limits, travel, I wouldn't care if I had a whole fleet of vehicles. I wouldn't care if I had my own personal chauffeur, Hulk, driving Miss Daisy style, where they could put me in a limousine. I have great Wi-Fi. I could be getting a massage on the way there and everything. I wouldn't care. Once you've moved to, this is going to take up a whole lot of time and energy. No thanks. I got other commitments. If you're a parent, oh man, thank you to the offspring. I have to hook them up with something. I thought, oh my God, my child has an engagement that day. Like, I won't be able to make that one. Sorry. And I wouldn't even go into a whole lot of detail about it. Just, oh my gosh, I got to get my child that day. Sorry. I wouldn't even lie to you. I'd make sure I did something special with my offspring. I wouldn't lie and make up children if I didn't have children. I would just, pick something else, doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, anything, car trip, anything, family emergency, anything. But if I had children, layup, oh yeah, I got to get the child from school early that day. Can't make it. I'm never doing anything. We got to travel extensively, or this is going to be like 4 or 5 days or something like that. Overnight. None of that. None of that. I felt that way before, and really, even if it's close, even if they have it in the building where we work, or if it's right across the street at the park across from where we work at, even then, I'm giving you about 30 minutes, and we're out of here. We're not doing a whole lot of fraternizing and all that old nonsense. Now, if we're on the clock and we're in the building, might be a little different. If we're on the clock and they say we're going to go, to the park across the street, like I said, down the road within a mile radius or something like that, we're going to be on the park, go to the park for 2 hours, and then you can leave and go home after that. Great. And I'm going to see if I can get out of being there for the full 2 hours. But I'm not doing the whole day long or whatever. I felt that way beforehand. The article I'm about to share with you all, permanent now. Now, you all, I'm going to read so you all can come to your own conclusions. This is in Colorado. We've had a number of different reports about Colorado specifically. The demographics in Colorado, they don't have lots of dark people. Isaiah Shoals is not tons of his cousins and things out in the Rockies. This report, co-workers left him behind on a mountaintop. He got stuck overnight. A man spent, or let me scroll down, and this is from yesterday. The hiker had been trekking for hours by the time he summited the mountain and realized the markers showing the way back down had disappeared. He and 14 colleagues had set out on the hike on Colorado's Mount Shavano, meant to be a work retreat, at sunrise Friday, but at some point he had gotten separated. Lost, disoriented, and later stuck in a storm, the man was forced to spend the night alone. The man was forced to spend the night alone on the mountain before being rescued, Chaffee County Search and Rescue South said in a statement Sunday. The fact that one member of their party was left to complete his final summit push alone, the statement said, might cause some awkward encounters at the office in the coming days and weeks. There was no indication in the statement that his colleagues left him deliberately. In an email to the Washington Post on Thursday, the rescue group said the man had been hiking at his own pace and lost the trail. His co-workers hiked back up to look for him, the group said. The rescue team, which did not identify the stranded man or his company, said the colleagues had split into two groups, one completing summit attempts and the other ascending to the saddle and returning from there. By about 11:30 a.m., the man had reached the top of the roughly 14,000-foot mountain in San Isabel National Forest, but he soon found that his co-workers had picked up the objects marking the descent as they hiked down, the rescue group said. Now that is a major one in terms of, racial demographics. Do we think this was all white people? Do we think the person left? If we think that there might have been some white and non-white people present, do we think the person left was non-white? That would be a key one to kind of think on now. The breadcrumbs, so to speak, if you want to use the cliche, what have you, if we're going to go trekking literally out in the woods and we're going to leave markers, we chalk trees or what have you, flags, whatever it is. That's even like in movie plots sometimes. It'll be like a group that they'll be out trekking in the woods or on a mountain or what have you, and it'll be kind of difficult to figure out where you're going, dense forest, and so they'll leave little markings, and one of the Judas in the group will break off and they'll go back and erase all the markings. They'll be like, hey, what happened to be like, Judas got us. Oh man, what are we going to do with stuff? Like, for real, like, man, that is, now, all that conceited about, that's one thing going, I totally can think of scenarios where white people mistreat other. Michael Swango was poisoning and killing other white people too. Peed in the 7-Up, I already mentioned it. So I totally could see white people, and even the demographics, what I said, the paragraph I just read about them picking up the markers. Colorado is kind of a racially restricted region. These are, I mean, I'm just thinking about it logically. The type of jobs that most black people, Leroy and Lakeisha, get, most Leroy and Lakeishas are probably not going to be invited on a 9-hour hike with 14 people. I'm just saying, like, I don't think most custodial staff members are going to be on that retreat, right? We cross them out. Isaiah Shoal's family, we cross them out. Kyle Velasquez's family, we cross them out. These are victims, non-white victims at Columbine. We cross them out. I mean, who are we talking about? Jamal Murray? He's not even a U.S. citizen. Who are we talking about? I mean, Russell Westbrook just got to Denver. Who are we talking about? Russell Wilson is hated there. Who are we talking about? In Colorado, black person that's going to have this type of executive job. That's what I'm saying. I would think if I was going to wager, I'd say it's probably a white person that they love. Maybe a white person that they don't like, you know. Remember the courthouse said that they wanted the clique members threw water in another white person's face. Like, white people, you know, they get upset with each other. Ted got on my nerves, you know, honey, we'll fix his way. We're going to take them now. See how you like that, Ted. We went to look for him. We went back up to look for him. We just couldn't find him. He said he was going at his own pace. We thought he was fine. That would be my guess. But, hey, it totally could have been Leroy or just a non-white person, period. And they just left him up there. Anyway, it continues. Worried, the man used his phone to send a pin drop of his location to his colleagues. They responded that he was going the wrong way and told him to climb back uphill to find the trail, after they took the markers, of course. According to the rescue group, he sent another pin drop to his team hours later and told them he was near the trail. Soon after, freezing rain and high winds swept through the area. The man became disoriented again and lost cell phone service. He could have died. The rescue group learned about the missing hiker at about 9 p.m. soon mobilized 2 teams and a drone operator to find him. See, that's what I mean. Like, this sounds like it would be really high-level, well-paid white people, cronies, homies. Like, if I had to wager, if you forced me to wager, do you think this is a white person or a non-white person who got left at the hike in Colorado? If I had to bet my last nickel, I'd say it was a white person. Finally, the lost hiker regained enough cell service to call 911. With specific information about his location, rescuers found him in a gully and rescued him with technical rope lowers. They then transported him to a hospital for medical care. I wonder who's going to have to pay for all of that and how much the bill for that is. I shouldn't because he could have died. The man told the first responders that he had fallen on the steep slopes at least 20 times while disoriented. After the last fall, he said he couldn't get back up. In its statement, the Colorado rescue team underscored the importance of hiking with a partner, wearing bright clothes and packing. Oh man, they said that this hiker was wearing all black in a different report. And you can take from that what you want, but they didn't give any information about him. They just said that he was wearing all black, and that became more significant when they said, if you're going to do this sort of hike in the snow and high altitude, wear bright colors so that you will stick out and can be more easily identified. And then take essentials, flashlight, food, water. This hiker was phenomenally lucky. I guess it depends on how you want to think about it. Alice Sebold, Anthony Broadway, lucky. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I got stranded, could have died. I fell 20 times. I might have blacked out. Like, frostbite. Like, I have is that lucky? I guess depending on what you mean by luck. Like, I have no idea, man. I guess it's nice that he didn't die out there, which he totally could have, but wow. Moral, do not take hikes with your coworkers. They go to the mountain. Let's say they do the same thing here. We got mandatory hike. We're going to Mount Rainier. We're going to hike to the summit and back. Guess what? Gus T, you go, especially if it's on the clock, mandatory, you got to be fired. You go. I'm going to be chilling at base camp the whole time. And I'm going to do exactly what they said. Water, food, essentials, phone, everything. But I'm not hiking 1 foot. Now they can't make you hike. Tell me you gonna go up here, you got to hike or you fired. Now come on. Now that right there would be a red flag. Now what kind of slave is this? What are they gonna force you to do next? Nah, man, I'm be chilling down at base camp. Never again. I already had that thought process. You got to be out of your flipping mind. And I'm not going anywhere. Anywhere that even I could potentially die that sounds dangerous or that we could get in trouble. If they say our outing, we're going to the strip club. Like, nope, not budging. I'm not changing my mind. There's nothing you could say. I'm not going to the strip club. And any place where they say alcohol, you already know what I said about that combination. So, and we've got reports in the archives around the world. People going to these office parties and things where they got alcohol. That was a part of Brexit. That was a part of Boris Johnson's demise, Partygate. Having the office parties, they get a little liquor in the system, and woo, they done broke the glass. Police got to be called, and all that. No. And something dangerous. We got to travel 3-4 hours down the road and take a plane and a ferry and no. And if this was a non-white person, the genius Henry in Chicago 2 times, he said, now, if you go someplace and I'm going to be the only black person present, run. Now, if this was a non-white person, black person in Colorado, this sort of environment, these executives, and this was the only non-white person, oh man, they might have had this, in mind. Even if it was a white person, they might have had this in mind from the beginning. What I said, we will fix Ted. Yeah, Ted, just look for the markers when you come back down. They'll be on the right side, Ted. They might have had that plan from the beginning. I know a little bit about being out in the trail and all that, and you don't want to do any damage. You leave no footprint and all of that, so you don't want to leave plastic bottles and what have you, and big plastic Post-it notes and such about which direction you went. But I have seen where people, they can take fallen tree branches. You can take a set of rocks and stack them in a certain way where unless it's, well, they did say it was a storm, but anyway, you could take things that are there in nature naturally and place them in a way so that oh, okay, this is, what we use to mark, bam, on the trail and boom, 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 and that sort of thing. Why would it then be we're going to go and kick the rocks down and take the branches and all that? Why would that be? Do not. No dangerous, something like that. We're going out hike. I've even heard that. Oh my, I totally forgot. When I worked in California, they did do a hiking trip. They went out in the redwoods and, oh my God, thank you, Gus T. Thank you. I hadn't read Neely Fuller Jr. I was intelligent enough. Y'all are going to do what? Go hiking it overnight? Hiking it? No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't know. I think I might have been the only one in the group who didn't go. Oh my God. No, thank you. No, thank you. They came back and said it was fun and talked about all the great times that they had and all the rest of that. No, thank you. You got to be out of your mind. Go out. Come on. Not to mention the foolishness that, what did you slip in my 7-Up? Nah, man, no overnights, no none of that, especially after we had COVID and all that. Like, no way. That needs to be something like people that I have super duper trust for us to be out overnight. We miles from, nah. Anyway, if anybody gets any information about this specific case, they didn't, release what company this was or who this was, anything. If you find out any details, if you have even a thought, do we think this was a white person, non-white person, based on the details? Like I said, if they force me to wager just because of the demographics, the population in Colorado, and the demographics of who tends to have a job like this. In fact, I'd even ask you, have any of you all been on a hiking retreat with your colleagues at work? Of this, a 9-hour excursion with your colleagues. That's what I mean. I would tend, if they forced me to wager, I would say it's probably a white person that they just didn't like or whatever. But If it was a non-white person, it would certainly make sense. As for the other reports that we heard, the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, I was not going to play that segment because it was quite partisan, I thought. It was about 15 minutes, but most of it was just, yay, Kamala Harris, yay, Kamala Harris. I didn't play anything like that in support of President Trump in Wisconsin. Most of it was about black people who were killed, who were mentioned or not mentioned during that week. Sade Robinson and many other black people that we were talking about during that time. Black male that was killed by enforcement officers who didn't even live in Wisconsin. I think they came from Ohio. We were talking about all the black people that got killed. But the reason I played that segment when they spoke with Ebony Anderson, the entrepreneur, nail issues, nail spa, they asked her, put the mic in her face, Miss Anderson, who are you going to support this November? She says so smooth, oh, I don't discuss politics in the workplace. Said it like a long-time dedicated cows investor. That was why screeching halt, we got to play Ebony Anderson and give her nail issues, nail spa. If you drop through Windy City, drive by, they say there's a line around the convention to get in there and get her to hook it up with the pedicure and the manicure and all of that. She said, man, whoa. You don't get me on, I'm racially neutral. You're not going to get me on record. This on public radio in front of God and everybody. You're not going to have me on record and say, well, I support my white brother, Trump. I want him to get back in there and do right by it. Oh, no. Every black person mad at me and coming around picket and toilet paper my house. Or you're not going to get me on here. Well, I'm going to support my black sister or my Indian or mixed race or whatever. I'm with VP Kamala Harris. She's got my vote, and I hope she gets in there and right on, do it for us and get that old Biden out of there and get Trump out of there too. You're not going to get that one on me either. I am neutral. I don't discuss politics in the workplace. Don't even go there. Bravo to Miss Anderson. Now, and it's not a critique, she's brilliant, A+. I would just say, she did add at the end, I will say, I'm paraphrasing, that I think change is good to have things be a bit more even. I wouldn't even add that. That was nothing incorrect, nothing wrong about that at all. I'm just saying less is always more in the workplace in terms of words and what you have to say. The less you have to say, as few words as possible. I don't discuss politics in the workplace. Full stop. And the reason I say that is because even the little bit that she said, I think change is good. You have individuals, white and or non-white, who would try and take that and they might twist it. What do you mean change is good? You don't want Brother Biden to continue on and have Kamala finish up what he wants? Oh, yes. Just leave it at, I don't discuss politics in the workplace with white people or non-white people. Beautiful. Because that's not even that. I'm here to talk about these pedicures. Like, woo! I'm here to talk about, I want you to get in your mind right now. Open toe shoes, you're going to be killing them. Labor Day weekend, oh my. They will be lined up to give you a foot massage once you get done at Nail Spa. Open toe shoes for labor. That's what we're going to be talking about who I'm voting for. That ain't got nothing to do with getting this pedicure or the manicure for the males. Make sure you are looking right. You go out for Labor Day weekend. Then we heard the Delta accident, Atlanta Airport. I've been to Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson Airport, one of the busiest in the country, and they have lots of black people who work at that airport. The Delta plane, they said they had an accident. The tire exploded and killed 2 of the workers. They have so many black people that work at that airport. It easily could have been black people who got injured and died with that incident. All the issues about Boeing, I don't think this was a Boeing plane, but I'd have to double check. But man, workplace safety, I cannot stress that enough. For your job, regardless if you work at the airport, McDonald's, whatever, workplace safety. Are they following rules and regulations? And I say, particularly for a job where you could die. anything airplane related. Hey, this is not a whoops. Well, we got, clean up on aisle 5. Someone broke a jar of pickles. That's not the type of whoops we're going to be talking about for an airplane. Whoops, maybe I'm not coming home. Maybe a whole lot of people are not going home for a whoops, for something that is a safety violation and we're not following proper procedure here. And there are other jobs too. If you, do elevator maintenance, work as a fire officer, these types of jobs, like, we got to be what they call sticklers about safety regulations, or at least in my opinion, we should be. And if we're not, like, I'm going to have to do some real thinking, because there is no job that is worth your life, period. No job. You got to have astronomical life insurance and all of that, like family, offspring, grandchildren, they're about to be millionaires. That type of thing. Unless it's that, I'm not dying for McDonald's. Like, are you serious? Amazon? None of this. Delta? I do the traffic control and that sort of thing. Like, what do you mean? I died working at Delta. I'm not even a stockholder in Delta. Come on, I don't even get no frequent flyer miles. Family doesn't either. I haven't even taken a vacation this year. The section Black farmers in Mississippi, they specifically mentioned Greenwood. I'm just pointing it out because today is August 30th, so that means 2 days ago was August 28th. They really should make it till national holiday. Now, I'm not into all that, but I mean, for real, if they're going to have tacky Juneteenth, and I think it's tacky, I thought it's tacky forever, August 28th should be a national holiday, not for the March on Washington, because the reason the March on Washington was on August 28th is because of Emmett Till's lynching in Greenwood, Mississippi. Anyway, they talked about black farmers. They might be related to Emmett Till's family and such. And they talked about all of the efforts to get them more resources so that they can continue to farm. That right in Jackson, no less, they were talking about some of the people where they don't even have water. Long efforts. They've been talking about recent efforts to get resources to black farmers, and then they reneged on that. White people complained and all the rest of it, and the many decades of stealing black property from black farmers, while there's been such a dwindling number of black farmers over the last century or so. So great to hear those efforts. Particularly, that's what we need. We don't need McDonald's and dollar stores where they don't have produce and toxic food and everything else. Ability to grow healthy food if you have the water to, access and such. But bravo to hear that. And if you have land access and all the rest of it. But bravo to hear that down in Mississippi. The segment in Minnesota I thought was important for so many reasons. Now, that was where they talked about changing requirements for state jobs in Minnesota so that it's not required that you have to have a 4-year college degree. Importantly, and that's where VP candidate with Kamala Harris, Governor Walz, his state, but importantly, I thought they said that there is a labor shortage in Minnesota. George Floyd could have helped with that. That's what the silver tsunami, and that might be white genetic annihilation, because that's another state where you have lots and lots of white people. You don't have a high population of dark people there. I think they have non-white people who were not born in this part of the world, immigrants, but even still, that is not a state with a high population of dark folks. Labor shortage. What are we going to do? Changing the job requirements. You don't need a 4-year degree. Now, so many components of that report I thought were fascinating. Even one when they talked about we have rising rates of individuals in the U.S. who have a 4-year college degree, but dropping rates of competency. How would that be? And I said, oh, you mean so when you keep passing Leroy and Lakeisha along, especially Leroy, and say, oh, you passed. Oh, you passed. Oh, you passed. You just pass them right on, and they can't even spell their name. Bay Area mom told us last week, had a little fella, he's 7, but they still got the badge on for 6. His birthday was in April now. It's almost September, but his badge says he's 6. That sort of thing. That's where, and then all of the cronyism and nepotism and cheating, oh yeah, I could totally understand how all these people got 4.0 GPAs and 15 college degrees, but they can't even spell college degree. Like, what is... Oh, I see. And now you got all the AI and all the rest of it. Like, oh yeah, I totally get how everybody has a degree, 15 of them. Nobody has any skill at all. Got it. And so what are we going to do to correct all of this? Now, the other component of that, they talked about, in fact, they had Julia Pollak, Julia Pollak. She said she came from South Africa to access education here. And they said, wow, this seems like such a stark change to be telling young people, that college degree, Now, when I heard that, I was even thinking, now, wait a minute now. You've heard all these generations of Steve Jobs and all these other white people who have become billionaires and all the rest of it and run the world, dropped out of college, never went, lied about going, all of it. Jeffrey Epstein lied on the resume and all the rest of it. What do you mean? If you're classified as white, you gotta go to college. You know that is not true. You know that is not true. That's never been true. That's how you end up having foolishness like what we read in the book club yesterday. White people go to college for 2 years. I'm going to take some time off and travel. Go to Spain for a year, see my brother Pau Gasol, watch the Bulls run. I don't know. Maybe go to Greece for a little while. Bakari Henderson, pay my respects. Go hang out back in South Africa. I don't know. And then I'll come back and finish up my degree, maybe. That sort of thing is like ubiquitous, man. You mean need a degree? And if you're classified as black, oh my God, you have generated, at this point, you got like decades, man, of black people, uber qualified. They like legitimately got all kinds of degrees, went to school, didn't cheat, didn't have no nepotism and friends in the admissions department or grandpa, dean of the school, or none of that. None of that. They went and earned all these degrees and they still can't get nothing but a janitorial job. So what do you mean? Like, it just doesn't feel right. I mean, you don't have to go to school. Like, come on. All of that is racket. Those fake University of Donald Trump told you all these fake schools and what have you, particularly taking money from non-white people where you get the degree or you don't get the degree, and you still can't get a good job where you will use any of those skills. Have you toilets, tater tots, whatever. Anyway, but Julia Pollak, she said she came over here to get the goodies, education from South Africa. I had to go look. Julia Pollak, I think, would be classified as colored. Might even be a cowbell. Looks like she might have one white parent, one non-white parent, but I definitely do not think she'd be classified as black. And once again, in South Africa and in the world, white people make a distinction between people that are classified as black and people who are not white but not classified as black. And I think Julia Pollak would be in the latter. Might even be connected to how she got the power access to leave South Africa and then come over here to the U.S. and apparently stay and hang out. I don't know if Madiba, Winnie Mandela, if it would have been as easy for them to do that. They're a little bit more melanin. Jacob Zuma, you want to fast forward, catch some newer folks. Let's see. And the disconnect policy. There's so much I could say on that. I will only say it would be very different if you had if it was your business. Now, if it's Ebony Anderson and people, are calling her at 10 o'clock, they want to know if I can get an appointment, if you can come to our workplace. We want to do a wellness affair, or we want to do a wellness event for our employees, and maybe we can have you to come in and you can do some pedicures, manicures, hand massages. We have lots of female employees. We want to show a little love for them. You're going to do that sort of call at 10 o'clock at night? I would joyfully, if I was an entrepreneur or investor in Nail Issues Nail Spa with Miss Anderson, I would joyfully take that call at 10 p.m. most likely. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Anything I could do to help and come and love on the ladies that you work with? Absolutely. Let's work out a date, time, fee. How long do you want me to do it? Absolutely. But that's not the case for most of us. It's calling us for some old nonsense. And then a lot of times it'll be tackiness. We've had so much of that too, where they're calling you with nonsense that could have easily been addressed earlier in the day, first thing tomorrow. Come on now. I'm all for it. The digital disconnect, unless you have the sort of job where you would be invited on that 9-hour retreat because your paycheck looks like the type of person who should be on the 9-hour wellness trust building retreat. I'm not the janitor. I don't do the tater tots in the cafeteria. I'm executive, got a nice office, nice salary to boot. Those circumstances, oh, well, yeah. And those circumstances, maybe they pay you to have a cell phone or another device that they can contact you on. Great. I will answer the phone. I know that is a part of the gig. But again, now, if that's not the type of power, salary that I command, then nah. Disconnect. There's no reason that you need to harass me during Labor Day weekend, email and call and all that. Nah, we can do all this during normal business hours. Remember that? We had Tumbling Dice told us white woman terrorized him in the workplace, and then she wants to call after hours to give a tacky apology. There's no need for that. You can just wait and do that in the workplace, if at all. Anyhoodles, we'll see how that unfolds, if that even becomes a thing, a policy here in this part of the world, the so-called disconnect. Anywho, number again, 605-313-5164, the code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. The email, untiljustice@gmail.com. Let us know if you have thoughts, observations to share. Make sure I get on the record as well. I personally had lots of issues when I was going to dial in today. I got disconnected repeatedly, I think like 3 or 4 times at least, where I had to dial back in. So I'm not sure if other people had issues dialing in, but usual suspects. My opinion, I could be totally wrong if I was here and just talking about, oh man, another exciting football season of brain damage, and what do you think Deion Sanders is going to do in Colorado, and all the rest. If that's what we were here to talk about, what's the University of Washington going to look like without Mr. Penix back there tossing the pigskin around, I think we'd be hooked up, no problem, all the rest of it. Trying to be serious, address white supremacy, racism, mysterious tech problems. Anywho, we persevere. Email number 1, keep an eye out, see what folks have, thoughts they have to share as well. Email number 1, titled Japan and Workplace Racism, Sobriety Would Be Best. Some knucklehead says that all the time. Hello, Gus. I'm writing to share my experience of living and working in Japan as a black male since 2004. We've had a number of listeners, non-white people, even classified as black, reside in Japan and listen to the cows. We've even had a number of guests on the program from black people living in or at least visiting Japan. He continues, to provide some context, I'd like to explain how I ended up in Japan 2 decades ago. If you would like to just read the cautionary tale of sobriety would be best and workplace racism, please skip to paragraph 5. After graduating from college, in 2003 in New York, I struggled to find a full-time job. Wow. Moron just said something about black people. Now, I mean, this could be old affirmative action crony, maybe his, auntie or uncle worked at the college and, he was all shiftless high school student and they got him an undeserved spot, right? Affirmative action. So maybe they passed him on through and he can't spell his name, like I said before, and they just passed him on through. But, I've seen lots of black people who have 4-year degrees and beyond struggle to get a job. Privileged black male continues. Let's see. Despite nearly a decade of work experience by the time I graduated at age 23, my employment history consisted of a variety of part-time jobs, including retail, landscaping, factory work, software sales, and assisting in biochemistry in a biochemistry lab. In addition to earning a degree in sociology, I was active in a popular local band, volunteered as a youth leader at a local church, and helped people build and fix their computers. Worthless Negro, potential looter. Eventually, I found part-time work at a non-profit organization that supported youth from low-income neighborhoods, Leroy's, including the one I grew up in. I also became a substitute teacher in the same school district. During my time in these schools, I overheard racist comments from the teachers, specifically targeting black children, which were both demotivating and unwelcoming. Between my roles as a substitute teacher and working at the NPO, nonprofit organization, I was putting in 12-hour days, if not more. On top of that, I was attending band practice, volunteering at the youth group, and managing the house where I rented a room, taking care of tasks like mowing the lawn, cleaning the bathroom, and assisting a blind housemate and his seeing eye dog with shopping. Reflecting on this period, it seems almost absurd in its demands, especially as I was also without health insurance and had to start repaying my student loans. The high cost of living on Long Island made it clear that without a steady full-time job, I wouldn't be able to make ends meet. My parents, long divorced, were not in a position to help, leaving me with the option of moving in with my aunt's family or my grandparents, both of whom lived out of state. One of my housemates suggested that I apply to teach English abroad through the JET program, a teaching program sponsored by the Japanese government that brings university graduates to Japan as assistant language teachers. The application process was a long shot, requiring an essay on why I believed I should be chosen and an interview at the Japanese consulate in New York City. Out of over 3,000 applicants, I was one of 150 selected. Bravo. Since that time, I've had many excellent experiences, attained a master's degree, made music for video games, started an attempted family with a Japanese woman, and paid off my student loan. Now, I know some people would be furious. You do some name calling too, like, oh my God, you are the worst Negro since Al Sharpton. Go and marry a Japanese female. You ought to be ashamed of yourself and then commit honorable suicide. The Japanese, where they impale themselves on the sword. You disgraced your honor. That is not my view, but I'm just acknowledging some people. They do some religion of name calling black people. Now, married Japanese female, paid off student loans. Life has not been without its challenges, but it has been much better than what I imagined it would have been if I stayed in the U.S. Unfortunately, I can no longer recommend young black people come to Japan. Weak yen and dwindling job prospects. It used to be a good opportunity, but these days I recommend teaching in China, if not for the experience, for learning the language. Once you learn the language and integrate into a local community, unforeseen options arise based on what I have experienced and heard from others firsthand. I have many stories of experiencing racism in Japan, and virtually every instance involves a white woman from America, seconded by white women from Europe or one of its colonialist projects. Contrary to what some may believe, I experienced very little anti-black racism by Japanese people and institutions. When on rare occasions I experience discrimination, it's because I am not Japanese, but when I show I can speak and read Japanese, the discriminatory behavior occasionally ends, sometimes even apologized for. In this specific case of workplace racism, I let my guard down and paid the price. I work in a team of educators in a very specific job. We are tasked with doing educational research, teaching, and other tasks within a university. Although in Japan this field is majority white, with a significant number of white women in positions of power, our boss, who is a white woman, encourages us to be friends, already problematic, and to work together in teams doing research projects which benefit our field, our professional development, and career prospects. I have worked on a handful of projects with colleagues over the past 6 years, resulting in research papers, conference presentations, and courses developed for students. We were doing really good work, and I got comfortable, which is why it all pretty much came to an end for me when I attended a birthday party of a colleague. Oh my goodness, hold on. What in the Stevie Wonder? I had to take a sip of water just to parch my dry throat. Now, I did all that talking about, going to Mount Rainier and 9-hour hikes up the mountain trail, birthday parties. Really, I said things with alcohol. And he started this with sobriety. I said, if they're going to the strip joint, nah, no thanks, not going. And no matter what is the metaphor, I don't care how much arm twisting, and you gotta go with us to the strip club, and you've never been, and you don't know who's gonna be there. Well, I guess I just won't find out, because I'm not going to the strip club. Like, it would just be some things, no. And if they're going to a bar, that would be another one. I know for some people, if you drink, whatever, that's not a big deal. I don't drink. Me being around people who consume alcohol is not fun, especially being around people classified as white who are inebriated. Not fun. In fact, scratch, dangerous. I think Bakari Henderson was in a bar, Greece. So I don't know if this birthday party was at a strip club or a bar. Maybe you'll tell us, but that sort of thing. I mean, I guess, they could do the birthday party at the miniature golf club that I mentioned, or at the park, as I mentioned. They could do that, and it wouldn't necessarily have to involve liquor. I think others that said sometimes they do the birthday party at work. They just go to the cafeteria or break room, get the ice cream cake or whatever, and, sing song, blah, blah, blah. If he's a jolly good fellow, and then we get back to work. They got to go to the bar or the strip club for the birthday party? No, even if it's my birthday party, no thanks. Let's see where the birthday party is. I was working on a project with an American colleague, Jessica, a white woman, and everything was professional. During our meetings, Jessica mentioned her Japanese husband, Cal was struggling to find a job, so I offered to help by sharing information about a government program that supports reskilling for Japanese people under 45 that I had recently learned about. Since this wasn't work-related, we exchanged personal contacts. Mistake number one. Now, that's him. That's not me. That's him. Mistake number one. After that, Jessica began sending me memes and jokes occasionally, to which I responded with lol or other comments aimed at maintaining a cordial relationship. Now, see, that's why I said I'm not interested in joking in the way, even with other black people. I'm not interested. Like, do not send me any memes. I don't even, Cal's listeners, put memes and such on my page. You can go back and look over. I've been posting and had the same social media sites for 15 years. I do not, as a general rule, post memes and GIFs just to be funny. I know they have memes and GIFs about racism too, but I generally don't post them. I post, serious content, serious information, hopefully, constructive information to help us solve this problem. Not to be funny. It's not joke time. I'm not trying to be the entertainment committee. I do not, and I've said this for years, you do not want to be the type of person in your work environment who people think of as, oh, that's old Smiley, that's old Grinning Greg, that's old Silly Sarah, that's our resident Cat Williams. No, man, no, that is not me. I am not the one that any old joke that you think of that you just want to come up. I don't care if it doesn't have anything to do with racism. That is not me. Do not be packing my email or text message or whatever with a whole lot of goofiness. And I see that he didn't say that old Jessica, she was sending him constructive information. It could be anything. How to get, 20,000 bonus frequent flyer miles. Anything. No. It's some nonsense. That's Fuller. I had the audio playing before we went live. That's exactly what he said, and that's been my experience. White people do not come to talk to black people, especially non-white people in general, about constructive things. It's about nonsense, because that's what they think of us. We're trash. We're ignorant. We're stupid. I'm going to come talk to you at most sports. At most. Hey, man, football season about to start up, man. Oh, man, it's going to be great, ain't it? We think about that old Lamar. You think Pat Mahomes, what, you think he's going to get that Super Bowl again? And that's why I said, man, I wouldn't care if you have memorized every game that Patrick Mahomes has played throughout his career. Somebody asked me in the workplace, Pat, who? What? Oh no, I don't watch no football. All that bread, no, I don't watch no football. And it's short too. It's not no long explanation and all that. I don't watch no football. Really? You don't keep? I just knew you get really. Nah, did a little bit in the past, but yeah, just grew out of it. Didn't have time to keep up. They have so many games, and yeah, I don't keep up with football. And leave it at that. And I wouldn't mention it in the workplace. They wouldn't see me reading the sports section. They wouldn't see me online. What? ESPN, NFL.com. None of that. None of that. None of that. We talk about serious things. We're at work. Let's talk about the job. It's got to be all kinds of things that we can talk about workplace related. So that right there, I do not ever. That Allison Manswell spoke with us. She wrote the book, Listen In. She said, in terms of the aura that you have in the workplace, what sort of energy do you give off? What do you hear me talking about? What do you see me doing? How do I dress? How do I carry myself in the workplace? Am I the type of person that looks like, just based on how I function, what I think, speak, behave, do I look like the type of person who is just ready for knock-knock jokes all the time? I'm not saying you can never smile in the workplace. I always say speak to everyone, but this is not oh, let me tell you what Cat Williams said. No, man. No. And even if you work with other black people, it would be exactly the same. I am serious. I'm always thinking I'm management material. I'm not going around here snickering and cackling and all that. Never, never, never. I wouldn't even, and if they're sending memes and jokes and things, I wouldn't even respond. Did you get the joke? Mm-hmm. And I would even tell them, I just don't get into, all that stuff in the workplace, just about sending serious things. Never know. Sometimes people take jokes and things the wrong way, what have you, just about being professional in the workplace. And that's exactly what I would say. I mean, he said it now. I already started. So personal information. Now we get to the memes and jokes. Now let's see where we get from here. We also shared the office with two other people, one Japanese female and one white female, that had a similar tone to the text messages, jokes, laughs, very lighthearted atmosphere. After working together for over a year, Jessica ended up going through a divorce. A few months later, our team had dinner and drinks to cheer her up, which I joined. Mistake number 2. Now, I'm so glad I said it already at the beginning of the program. I said bars or anything where it's going to be what I say, worst combination in the universe. Going down hard this weekend for Labor Day shindig. Liquor, sake, white people. Like, oh man. And we already got the meme, so then they can already say, well, I thought, you joke around, we play, and we. Now, I ain't sent joke number 1. I ain't got, why did the chicken cry? None of that. I ain't got joke number 1. She done piled up 500 memes and jokes and all that, and all I've done, oh, lol. We joke around like that all the time. We just had that sort of, see, that's why I said, none of that. Serious. Man, that's what management material. So they go to get the sake, cheer up. I expressed my condolences at the end of the evening, and though Jessica responded somewhat rudely, she later apologized via text, which I accepted without issue, albeit confused. Now, see there? They go and get some liquor in, and it's what Fuller say, it doesn't get any better than tacky. Now, my black brother, he says, I'm so sorry about your divorce, and it's other fish in the pond. You hang in there, my good white sister. What you mean? Get on out of here, you no-count coon. I don't need no condolences from a coon. Like, whoa. And he said, I'm confused. See that? I'm confused. Why did Jessica say that to me? I thought that was my homie. We've been swapping and what? Man. So he said he'd leave and he's trying to figure, like, what? Did I do something? Should I not have said that? She's my fault, black brother. I got, the sake was in me and the divorce. Kind of my fault. I was rough last night. I'm gonna do better, man. I'm sorry. You say, okay, right on. Everybody has, but see, that sort of thing right there. That's what I would expect. See, that's always what it is when they have those parties and after office affairs, get a little liquor, the tackiness, and then they got the excuse. See, I had a little teaspoon of courage, and I get out of sorts, you know. No, man. My favorite white brother president, G.W., we got to be preemptive, see. We don't sit around and wait, see, you say, you fooled me once, see. Shame on you, see. We don't get to number 2. In fact, we be preemptive. We don't even get to number 1. I'm not going to the bar. You all enjoy your sake. I'm going to take my hind parts home. And like I said, always feel free. I said this before. I have no problem saying I've had issues with substance abuse in my past. You can even figure out different phrasing because you don't have to suggest that it's you personally. Just people that I care about have had issues with substance abuse, and moving forward in life, I just don't put myself in environments where people are consuming alcohol or what have you. I just, all about that good sober living, and I just don't hang out in bars. I think the vast majority of white and non-white people in a work environment would accept that, especially now after we've had all this with fentanyl and opioids and all, because you didn't say alcohol, I said substance issues. I think the vast majority of people would accept that, probably without a whole lot of questions asked. Like, oh, right, oh, that's okay. And I said, well, we'll have a good time. And then they probably won't even come and tell you how many, shots that they took and all the foolishness and debauchery that they engaged in, because they'll know, oh, yeah, he's about sober. Right on. That's just my recommendation. I think that would be a difficult one to get in trouble for or what have you, but no bars, no bars, no bar. Even if you work with all black people, no bars. Let's see. A few months after that, we celebrated a team member's birthday. The atmosphere was jovial and everyone was joking and laughing. Feeling comfortable due to the positive work environment. Mistake number 3, I made a comment about how Jessica always wore pants at work and that it was the first time I'd seen her in a dress. Hasn't Leroy, old gusty renegade worthless Negro in Virginia, have I not said for years, in the workplace, no compliments on appearance, makeup, accessories, weight loss, or gain. None of that. That, in fact, has been the very foundation for why I have said, hey, in the workplace, males, females, children, whatever, you are not showing out. I don't care if you have been out, you have been jogging, you have been swimming, you have been rowing, you have been weightlifting, yoga all summer long, you have been eating great, you have been drinking your water, you are amazing. Tone, I'm showing off my 8-pack. I do not care. It is not the time. I'm wearing crop tops. What is the shirts where you can expose your tummy, all that. Crop top, just say crop tops, all that. I'm not doing all that in the workplace. None of that. If I'm a male, I've been lifting weights and bench pressing and doing my push-ups and all that and pull-ups all year and ain't touched a Cheeto. I'm not wearing snug shirts so I can show off all my bustling, rippling pectorials and triceps and biceps and flex. None of that. Really, delectable Negro. Now, how many white males do I need admiring my Negro physique in the workplace? None of that. I've said prudish, and I've said we're the same thing because you don't even want compliments for what you wear. I've said that. All of the compliments are about the work. If I'm going to give out, and I've said it exactly that way, if it's going to be a compliment given out, it is about the work that you do. If I got to compliment Jessica at all, Jessica, that was a fantastic report this morning. All the talking about accurate information. You summed it up great. Bravo. That is the way we get presentations done. It's about the work. It is never, whoa, those heels, girl, you are have you been losing? None of that. None of that. None. I am 5 seconds. What did you say, OJ? Even from a black person. What did you say, OJ? None of that. None of that. None. I wouldn't care if my wife worked in the cubicle with me. If I got any compliments to give my honey boo, I'm going to do them at home. Do them if we ride to work. You give all the compliments then. Wow. Woo. Heels are looking amazing. That blazer, woo-wee. You get married again. You do all that before once you get to work. Miss Johnson, nice to see you. That's what all that, nothing. Everybody else go, wow, that lipstick is everybody else. If they want to come by and do all that, that's on them. Did you compliment your wife today? None of that. None of that. Hopefully you did all that before you got to work, so we're good. No, we call her at the courthouse. Said his mom works at the court. I don't compliment mom on the job neither. Same thing with it. Morning, Miss Johnson. Good to see you. No compliments, or the only compliments are about the work that is done. Period. Oh, my God. I hope people have heard me say that one before, so we don't have anybody else having what they call it learn the hard way about compliments in the workplace. It continues. So he compliments her about wearing a dress, raping black male. Everyone, including Jessica, laughed. Later, I jokingly repeated my observation, and Jessica told me, stop, which surprised everyone. At the end of the evening, when everyone was going home, I apologized, clarified that I meant no offense, and offered a hug. Oh, Jesus, God. Oh, my God. Oh, God. I'm wounded. No hugging in the workplace. Oh, Lord. Oh, no hugging in the workplace. No hugging in the workplace. No hugging in the workplace. Oh, I feel like I got hit with a bolt of lightning. No hugging in the workplace. Now that, I don't know if I can say for years that I've said that. Maybe I felt that was, did not need to be stated explicitly, but let me rewind. So if my mother worked in the workplace, no hugging in the workplace. If my wife worked at my job, no hugging in the workplace. If my daughter worked at my job, no. Damn it. Bron James, billionaire. Can you give us some advice, Bron James? From this week, Bron James, can you give us some advice in the workplace with his son? Bron and Bronny plan for the Lakers in a matter of days. What did Bron James say this very week about working with his son? Billionaire, black, privileged male said, Bronny James, do not call me dad at work. I didn't even get the hug. He said, do not call me dad at work. Bron James, billionaire. That's one bit of advice. Business we'll take from Bron James. No hugging. I don't care. Any DNA, family, we go back like kindergarten. No hugging. And I don't even really want a fist bump. We've had some non-white people victims of racism. I don't even do handshakes. I don't do handshakes with black people in the workplace, like much less a hug. This is another one. I said this before. I think caller at the courthouse said it was a black male. He didn't hug, but he went and kind of caressed the upper back of a white woman. Even that, I said, Jesus Christ, you are asking to be fired, lynched, written up, castrated, anything, all of the above maybe. Even if that white woman that was being caressed, lovingly we suspect, even if she's all right with this, maybe even asked for this. You all don't work alone. You have no idea who is watching this. What do they think about it? Do they think that this was an invited caress, or do they think we got a raping nigger around here fondling white women? No hugging. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes and what have you. If you make an error with someone, some sort of social faux pas in the workplace, you didn't say the right thing or something got misinterpreted, you can give an apology. There shouldn't be a hug. Jesus, talk about compounding. Oh my God. My fault. Correct myself. Hopefully we move forward. I'll do a little bit better. Have a great evening and we'll talk. But no hugs, no fist bumps, no pounds, not COVID, man. No physical contact in the workplace. Gee, well, I don't even want to read the rest. I'm saying like, ooh, we can't go anywhere good from here. Like, oh Lord, you commented about the white woman wearing a dress. Like you've been trying to sneak and get a look at, and then he comes, let me get a hug and some sugar. I can't even read it. We'll see. Woo, Jesus Christ. He goes to get a hug in front of everyone, which I thought resolved the issue. Mistakes number 4 and 5. 6 and 7, maybe. Asking a white woman for a hug in the workplace. Oh, my God. Let's get it together. 8 months later, I, as well as my boss, was blindsided by a sexual harassment complaint from the institution made by Jessica, claiming that I said she looked good, asked for a hug, and that my presence made the work environment unbearable for her. She waited 8 months too. This complaint had been circulating for 8 months without my knowledge, while my entire team knew about it, yet no one ever mentioned it to me. I was made to change offices, undergo sexual harassment training, and faced a tribunal where I learned about the complaint. After having Jessica's accusations read to me, I realized they were exaggerated and made me sound predatory and my language and behavior sexually charged. I consulted a lawyer who advised me to present previous communications with Jessica and witnesses from the party. Thanks to the C.O.W.S, I have been documenting all my interactions with coworkers for over a year or so. I had chat logs and screenshots of her memes and messages such as "my sense of humor is so fucking dumb," direct quote. And see, that's what I mean. Like, I've also said, and really since COVID, because we had a lot more people who were remote and having to do like text chats and that sort of thing, Zoom. And there were lots of reports talking about there was a general lack of professionalism and decor because people were texting like they were talking to their friends and such away from the job, as opposed to, oh, wait a minute, I'm talking to a supervisor and such. And they were using, like I said, all this shorthand. So fucking the bomb. That is not how, I think most people, that's not how you would talk if you were at the job, talking to your supervisor at the water cooler, even talking to another coworker. For most people, not all, but for most people. I would not, and I've said, I would not use that sort of language in the workplace. I would not use that sort of language via text, Zoom, anything, email, anything else that's written communication. One, you have no idea who's screenshotting all of this. You all the time. What did I say today already? Management material. That's the sort of energy that I want to promote at all times with my behavior, dress, commentary, written or verbal, management material. I'm serious in how I conduct myself. What sort of, like, I'm sounding like Sue Africa, man. Cat Williams. Let's see. So he's documented all of this. Bravo. And other uncouth humor and language. I had also had 2 witnesses that were at the birthday party that said her recounts of my behavior in her complaint were inaccurate. With this evidence, I received a warning, even that, stating you should not make comments that make coworkers uncomfortable. Unsatisfied, Jessica posted a picture of the warning I received by the institution on social media. I can't get up. I can't get up. I can't get up. Woo! Wow. Wow. I just... public humiliation. We've talked about that. I have talked about that. That is such an integral aspect of the system of white supremacy. Mr. Fuller said, the royalists, he said, what they do, they like drive by splashing mud on the peasants. Publicly humiliate. He said this is in public. We said, oh man, you wearing a dress? You look like, it couldn't just be that this nigger offering a compliment, you know, misguided, because we shouldn't be doing wardrobe in the workplace, but whatever. Oh, no. He is a rapist, just like Emmett Till, just like every one of those black looters in New Orleans. He is a raping black male, and then he came to fill up my goodies. She is dissatisfied. She posts his verbal or written warning by the water cooler or really the virtual water cooler on social media. Legal name and everything to the world. He is a sexual predator of white women. Get his gonads. Get his gonads. What in the world? All of this from complimenting hug. Disgraceful, man. Disgraceful. Like, wow. So many non-white people go through experiences like this in the workplace that is just total nonsense. It is totally unnecessary. It would be completely understandable if someone was, just trying to be creepy. We heard the young lady a couple weeks now who's talking about this white dude who's stalking her at work. And, oh, where'd she park? She didn't park at the same spot. Where are you going to park? And then coming up, leaving messages and things. And, oh, you need me to take you home? You need a ride? You want a rendezvous? That sort of thing. That is totally unacceptable. That is totally creepy behavior. And I mean, wow, you want to talk about stalker and all the rest of it? That should not be tolerated in any work environment. You're talking about somebody who just made a totally innocent, oh, you look nice today, and that's now rapist, and we need to broadcast to the entire universe? What does it mean to be white? She's been uncouth the whole way through with the language and everything, but I'm the one sexual, and that's so and that's so easy to accept for everybody, other black people, non-white people, that if it's a black man, oh yeah, he's a rapist. Oh yeah, Emmett Till tried to rape that woman. Absolutely. That's what them colored boys do. See, raping babies and not even trying to get out of a flooding city. Got to get some raping in. Even in the flood waters, they got to get some raping in. Japan too, that's the black male. All right, so he gets publicly ridiculed, embarrassed as a rapist. He would have been lynched back in the day if this had happened. So he posted up, let's see, claiming that women still aren't safe in Japan. She says she posted on social media to say that women still aren't safe in Japan and that the institution failed her. This has shattered the team. And since that time, 2 other melanated coworkers shared with me that they have experienced issues as well. Were these privileged black males too? Ultimately, I decided to leave the field entirely and return to working in a Japanese work environment. Though my boss wanted me to stay and even offered options for other positions within the institution, I no longer felt safe or welcome in the environment. I was quite active in the institution and was even featured on a TV program. Due to this, I was able to leverage a different job with support from a different department within the institution. In the end, I was able to make a bit more money and go back to an all-Japanese work environment. Finally, I shared a self-advocacy statement along with my resignation, citing research articles that highlighted the racial undertones of what had occurred with my boss. I can share if you or anyone is interested. These are 2 papers I cited in my statement. Surviving the White Space Perspectives on How Middle-Class Black Men Navigate Cultural Racism. Then White Tears, White Rage, Victimhood, and as Violence in Mainstream Feminism. The two reports recently published, one in 2021, the other in 2020. I consider myself lucky, there's that word again, because I let my guard down. I should have known better than to allow myself to get lulled into a sense of comfort. White supremacy is always being serious, and I wasn't. Lesson learned, sobriety would be best. I've heard that before. Your coworkers aren't your friends. They normally skip to that other word, F word, and say that your coworkers are family. So deceptive. Anyway, much obliged for sharing. Wow. Wow. He could have been fired. He could have been, wow. Wow. I can't say it enough. I guess I haven't said it enough. No hugs in the workplace. 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 And then the only compliments are about the work that is done. I say that even for black people. I think we've had some folks where they said, female caller in Georgia, where she said she worked with a lovely black female, and she, gave her a compliment, just, oh man, you're looking great, that sort of thing. Where she said, I would not have done this if this was someone classified as white. But since it was a fellow victim classified as black, I wanted to give a little black self-respect and encouragement for what she was doing in terms of self-care and all of that. Bravo. I think Dr. Welsing would approve, but just, like I said, my general code, because you don't know if you're going to have a rapport with that sort of person. You don't know who's overhearing things and all the rest of it. My code, hey, compliment people on their work. And this was black female to another black female. If this had been a black male, I would have advised against. Even if that, what I said before, even if that's your mama, you can compliment her beforeward. Send her a little text message afterward. Looks so good today, mama. Woo. Make her day, but not in the word of Miss Job. What, Bron James? Don't you call me dad. Out at Crypto Arena. Bronny James. Lakers 2024 season. 24-25 season. Number again, much obliged for the email. Wow. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Like I said, folks have the long weekend coming up, hopefully. You don't have to go in on Monday. Let us know if they had any parties, shindigs, all of that in your work area, what have you, any mandatory outings, what have you. If you had to do all of that, feel free. If not, if you are safe, home free, hopefully you can use your time in the most constructive manner possible over the weekend. We have folks, teachers and such, educators getting ready for the new academic year. Hopefully you are rejuvenated, ready for the beginning of battle. use that verbiage deliberately, because that's generally the way that it will be talked about and the way things will go under the system of white supremacy with education. But yes, hopefully you are ready to roll for Tuesday, beginning of a new school year. Anywho, let's see. Folks might be already, maybe they already started their 3-day weekend, what have you, or 4-day weekend, and are partying up already. We'll give folks maybe another 5 minutes or so, see if they have commentary to share related to the workplace, what they've heard. We'll get in our second email as folks are spectating a teaspoon. Much obliged for the folks who wrote in. untiljustice@gmail.com. untiljustice@gmail.com. Let's see. Okay. Hi, Gus. A few weeks ago, HR contacted me about getting the chair and desk that I need for my back pain. They came to me directly rather than Shauna, non-white supervisor, who they originally emailed months ago. She has months in all caps, to assign me a desk, which they would then take off the desk booking system. I responded to HR, letting them know which desk to assign, and copied Shauna in the email. I told HR that I was copying Shauna as I do not know the process for identifying a desk and do not have the authority to assign myself one. No response to my email from Shauna. No mention of the desk. chair or additional equipment needs from Shauna. Months. This has been going on. And again, like I said, back pain is so, debilitating for anybody. Hopefully we don't have too many people who've experienced that. But I mean, man, it could be the brief period of time that I had back pain. It was so debilitating. I couldn't even sit in a chair, any chair. I had to lie prone for like a few weeks until, things were a little bit better. Like it can be just wow. So to just have that total indifference, not for a day or two where it's just, I was having a tough time or I was stressed or whatever, but just total whatever indifference to, your pain and suffering for something that could be easily alleviated at no cost to me, like just checking a box or what have you. Oh yeah, nigger woman needs a chair. Right, yeah. Anywho, number 2, in contrast, right-wing Ashley is taking 3 weeks sick leave to have gallstone removal surgery and will then take 2 weeks annual leave. Company policy is that a person can reclaim annual leave should they fall ill during the period of annual leave. Shauna, in her I'm a caring and supporting manager persona and voice, went out of her way to remind right-wing Ashley of the policy. Zoe, right-wing Ashley's line manager, was also in the meeting. Shauna then turned to Zoe and apologized if she was micromanaging her. Before Zoe was in post, Shauna told me I need to delegate more based on nonsense made up by the racist ex-manager and the non-white black female who no longer works for the organization. Shauna also told me that right-wing Ashley is available to support me. Once, when Shauna was on leave, right-wing Ashley asked me if I had any work for her to do. I obliged. Shauna left me a message in a report that I sent her to review. Even though I told you to delegate more, I expect you to check with me before giving right-wing Ashley work. I also don't know why you were delegating because, as far as I am concerned, you have the capacity to do the work yourself. What do they call that? Mixed messaging? Contradictory? Hypocritical? So, wait a minute. On the one hand, I should delegate. Okay. And she said, I think right-wing Ashley asked, anything I can help out? You need any checking in, that sort of thing? Oh, okay. Sure. Here you go. Thanks for checking in. And I've already been told I need to delegate a little bit more, so right on. How do I get reprimanded? Hey. Don't be delegating without checking in. And furthermore, I don't even think you need to be delegating. You can handle all this. I thought you said to delegate. Lord, that's where document having things in writing. Which is it? If it's you want me to check in, that's great. But which is it? Delegate, don't delegate. Just be consistent. They set you up for failure. Michael Jackson's song was, "You can't win if I don't delegate." Didn't I tell you to delegate? We've been telling you that for a long time. See, you don't follow instructions. We've been saying about that for a long time. Then you go and you do the see there, you are lazy and shiftless, and then you don't even check in with supervisor to do what you've been told. You can't win. Can't even get a chair. Number 3. Let's see. Yesterday, I chaired our divisional meeting, chaired our divisional meeting. Harry is back. He's the one they were gossiping about from his leave and gave his regular corporate update. He included an update on the business proposals that were approved by senior management. No mention of the business proposals I prepared. I asked Harry to clarify why he didn't mention them. He said they were rejected by senior managers as the objectives were unclear. This isn't a surprise as Shauna presented them without accepting my input. Shauna, who wasn't at the divisional meeting, she already knew that the proposals were rejected but didn't have the decency to feed back the outcome. Instead, a few days before, she left a message in the Zoom chat that no further input was needed on the business proposals for now. So tacky. 4. Shelley is annoyed that she is not involved in the business planning process. She commented in the divisional meeting chat that the rejection was good as more time was needed to develop ideas. The rejection Zoe, who had also put forward ideas that Shauna did not use, was not at the divisional meeting as she was on leave that day. Shelley messaged me after the meeting, asking if I knew when Zoe would return. That piqued my curiosity. Today, I did my own diary stalking, which I learned from my racist ex-manager. Zoe and Shelley had a catch-up meeting in their diaries. I opened the invite to get more information. It seems these meetings were set up by Shelley in May to review the week. I was unclear about Zoe's motivations, but this confirmed my suspicions that they have been colluding. Unjust networking. So much of that happens in the workplace, in terms of gossiping, one, and then just chatting and who's doing this, and I didn't get involved in that, and what are the niggers up to here, and all of that sort of information. Again, not being surprised about any of this, but just assume that this sort of thing is happening, that they're talking about you. That's why I always say, number one, not being about gossip and not being about talking bad about other people and what have you, so that they are not pulling you into all of this with any more misquotes and all of that. I'm just about business. Talking about work. I'm not talking about what other people have on and dating and rumors and all that. I'm just about work. That's why, too, I say not into all those memes and everything else, because there's so much racism and injustice being practiced. I'm not involved in any of that, and trying to document as much as I can so that I can preempt when these accusations and problems begin. Much obliged for sharing. All of that just sounds so tacky, like on a constant basis, and unnecessary, like just problems for no reason. You can't communicate information about deadlines and what have you. Like, man, gossiping about other people needlessly on a red, and then they try and pull. What do you think about Harry? Don't you think he's a no good, doesn't know what he's doing and all this? Don't you think he's shiftless and lazy and over? Like, come on. If you got problems with Harry, you can talk to him directly. Yes, I'm not Harry's supervisor, so I can't get him fired, right? Why do you need my input? Doesn't get any better than tacky. Let's see. The email again, untiljustice@gmail.com. Much obliged for the folks for sharing. Again, I know it is not easy sharing all these, real personal humiliations and abuse that we experience in the workplace. But again, it's so common. All of the things that, race soldiers do, even the hug, all of that. That is, he said, other non-white people said, man, they did the same thing to me. It might have been Jessica, did the same thing to me. All over the world, yes. White people find lots of very similar ways of mistreating non-white people practicing the system of white supremacy racism. Number again, 605-313-5164. The code 564-943#. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. If folks heard about that hiking retreat where they left the one member stranded, it was 15 of them and they left one. That's not even like a big enough group. That's like a teaspoon over a dozen, like easily, even if you're going to break into two groups, because that's what they said. Okay, so we got literally we got like 7 in one, 8 in the other. That is small enough that it really is no excuse for somebody being stranded. Like, what? But if folks, if you think the person who got left behind could have died out in Colorado, if you think that was a non-white person, what have you, let us know. If you've had to participate in any of those hikes, right, in the workplace, especially something that's like 2-3 hour hike all day long time. I think we might even have to stay overnight type of thing with your coworkers. Let us know. I cannot more vigorously disagree with workplace activity than an overnight hike with your, even if they were all black. Let's see. Bay Area Mom should be with us. Let's see.
Hi, can I be heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Greetings to you. Thank you for taking my call. I'm just tuning in, so I didn't hear about what you were stating. I missed the news. So, no, I haven't heard about it. I'd like to share my workplace racism. So it's a long week. It's a lot because of my location and the children. It's a lot of the children have a lot of issues. I have this one child. I may have spoke about him. He spends his time in the room I call the sensory room. They call it his office. He spends a lot of time in there. I was able to, working with the BCBA, a black lady from the school, get him out of the room and kind of enter. He doesn't, just before, when school started, the first week or two, he was asleep on the mat. They wouldn't let, he has a, what is it called? The little, what is it called? I can't think of the thing, but I can't think of the little thing that you, when you're sleeping outside in the trees, the little net thing that you can lay in outside. I can't think of the name.
A hammock.
Is it a harness? I don't know. I can't think of the name. Yeah, hammock. Thank you. So he has a hammock, but they removed it and want him to request it, and then he can have it. But I don't think he knows that's the name of it. So at some point, maybe next month, I'm going to start introducing him to the word and connecting it with the picture so he can request, because right now he's just laying on a mat, maybe a full-sized looking mat that he's laying on that probably went underneath the hammock. So since he hasn't requested the hammock, he's just laying on the mat. So we go outside, we introduce him to BCBA and I. We introduce him to maybe his class, maybe 5 minutes in the class, 3 minutes, however long you can last. And then we go back up to his office. So he eats lunch in there, but what I do is I take him out. We're going to go get your lunch. Nobody's going to bring it to you and all that. We're going to go get it. So, okay, so I'm going to go get lunch and let's see what's available. So this week, I don't remember if it was last week, but I know this week. Yeah, maybe this week. This week he started ABA with a BCABA and a BT, not an RBT. So she hasn't got her credentials, and that BCABA, she's the A. I guess she'll get her that A removed and become a BCA, whatever. She'll be whatever, have her stuff. So anyway, they come in. First day, it's a black lady. She's the BT, and then another, I don't know what nationality she is, but she's the BCA. So no big deal. They come in. They come for 3 hours, so it's during my time. So, okay, well, I'll leave. Oh, no, we need you to stay. Of course you do. So I stay and observe. I try not to do too much so they can pair with him or whatever. So they got some kinetic sand, and they had it. He was playing with it. He likes that. So they took it and wouldn't let him have it back. No big deal. So he started crying. And they're like, oh, at least he likes us. Okay, well, we'll bring it back next time. So he was crying. I was like, don't cry. I said, don't cry. I said, come here, look at my Amazon. I said, 5 hours ago, I ordered you some sand, so don't even worry about it, because I did. I didn't know they were going to bring sand, so I ordered him some anyway, because it's my money. So, and I could get reimbursed if I wanted to. I just know I can get reimbursed if I want to. So anyway, because when you get reimbursed, it's not yours anymore. I mean, it's a different feel, so I got it. But he likes his sand. He plays with it when he wants to. He likes the feel of it or whatever. So the BCBA, the BT came back Wednesday, but he went home. So yesterday was the first day he started sleeping again. So after I leave, say I get him going for 8:30. By 9:30, he's getting ready to get his covers and lay down because I'm leaving. So he'll sleep all the way through. So when I get back around right before lunch, his lunch, he sleeps. So I come back again after lunch, And he's laying down, and he's looking. I'm just like, well, you're not gonna lay down. Come on, get up. Let's go see what's going on for lunch. Let's go see what's left. Or we get up, we roam around a little bit. We come back. I end up giving him my croissant, and he didn't want the banana. It was too soft that the school had, and so there was no more pizza, no more lunch. It's just crazy. So anyway, BCABA came back. Maybe she will say she's Caucasian. She's not black. And the BT. So they came back, but he's asleep. So, but he wasn't asleep when I gave him to the BT. But when I come back 30 minutes later, he's asleep. How come? So then she's telling me, well, the other girl said he sleeps all the time. I said, what? Well, he sleeps all the time. I said, okay, yeah, in the beginning, that is true. He did sleep, but we worked on that behavior, and he hasn't been sleeping until today. And so I said, so now he's reverted back. Well, we have extinction with extinction burst. The behavior, it could just occur again. Yeah, lady, I get that. But look, come with something different if you want to do any work with it. That's all I'm saying. Because it wastes a lot. Because if you're here for the last 3 hours and he sleep, should I wake him? If you want to wake him up, should I wake him up? You already know it's not ethical to wake him up. Why would you wake him up? Wake him up and do what? Create a behavior? So he wasn't asleep. I know he's not asleep, but he just had the cover over his head because he doesn't want to be bothered. And that's okay as well. So they had to end up leaving because he didn't want to be bothered, and he just stayed there laying there. So they had to leave, cut their session short, and not bill anymore. But they were really trying to linger, hoping he would get up. Well, I don't think he can breathe under there within the covers. Well, okay. Well, do whatever you need to do. So now she's lifting the cover up, putting the fan under there, just ridiculous. So then had the nerve to tell me, well, you're registered, right? Mm-hmm. Send me your resume. You come work for me. We need someone registered because the person she's sitting next to is not. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I work for such and such. We need people like you. You're registered. You're active. Thank you. Well, she also offered the black girl downstairs that has worked with behavior before to come leave where we are to go work for them to do God knows what. Just foolish. So they ended up leaving. So today he went to sleep as well. Soon as 9:30 hit, when I'm about to leave, he went to sleep and stayed asleep all through until maybe I'd say 1:30. And he ended up going home early, maybe 2:30 or so, because when I ended up taking him to his mom's car because he got picked up early. But the BCABA said something about the sand that I said I bought. So she's like, oh, I see a sand in a capsule. I know some kids that would love this. Oh, they must have got this from the last time when we came and he wanted it. Oh, look at this. This is nice. I need this. Oh. And I didn't say anything. I didn't say where it came from. But that's exactly why I got it. I got it actually before you came with yours and created the behavior. I had got it before because I spent a lot of time with him, and I know he's more hands-on, very intelligent. He knows a lot of stuff. But he has issues. And then with him being traumatized, because I was told by the therapist, because her office is right next to his office. She could hear all the pounding and banging and yelling from the last lady that was there. So it was awful. That whole year he was traumatized to where he would pee off of the halls, spit everywhere, run with his clothes off, all through the halls, yelling and screaming for hours. yelling and screaming. And then I was told that his behaviors, they don't have those behaviors. He doesn't have those behaviors since I've been there. But the work that I just put in with the the board certified behavior analyst, sorry, I hate all those alphabets, with the board certified behavior analyst, we really do our stuff. So now you got him to where he's back, so frustrated. So I work under, even though I'm a peer educator, I got an email from the behavior board that said that I'm up under the board certified behavior analyst at that school. So she put me up under her starting the 6th of August, I guess whenever school starts. So that helps me retain my credentials. So that's what I wanted, and that's what I got. So I appreciate that. It's hectic there. It's hectic. It's heartbreaking because of a lot of the issues and the behaviors that the different children display. I had a parent get mad at me because I said their child was aggressive and always, and I know I'm not supposed to use those kind of words, but I did, and I'll take it because his behavior is aggressive and he's always hitting the other kids. So the parent, second grader, he is aggressive. He's always hitting the kids. But the mom ended up following me around and the dad and give me a hug because they know I try to do what I can to help the child. And his behavior is aggressive as well. You just don't like the label because it'll follow him as a young male coming up. And because you live in a white area and you brought him to a black school, because the white people are going to do him way worse. But when you bring them to our schools, I don't mean our, but the schools that we are populating, we have a lot of issues. And if they're not dealt with, you're coming in on all of, and I just mean it collectively as a being, not me, that the children have a lot of issues. So you're coming in on top of whatever they could be going through, whatever. And keep in mind, I had said something about a little girl that had got assaulted sexually walking barefoot from a fire at a house that she was living at, and whatever else the trauma is, and she still goes there, and the school stops at grade 4, so she's still there. So just the different issues. Kids walk through the halls just hollering and screaming. So there's so many issues. So you got to give us a chance at our schools because everybody takes away from our schools. Everybody pulls out of our schools. They get all the resources, all the money, and then they go. So I'll mute my line. I wanted to share that. I do a lot of stuff with these children. I do care, about whatever could happen to them. I don't want anything bad to happen. I don't like that our children are always stagnant. So, and I do get my props, but it doesn't mean anything if everyone else isn't working for the same goal. So, of course, I'm going to get in trouble on Tuesday for saying what I say, but I don't care. And the vice principal, the lady, the queer lady, she kept walking through the halls. So they held me up for an hour talking to me. And she's like, everything okay? Everything okay? And then she kept looking. And then the black lady, oh, everything's okay. And then the black lady had mentioned how that white queer lady had said what she said. You see how she said what she said? See, because they expect that. They expect us not to be okay, but I'm going to be okay. And I'm like, that's all right. You go get your pedicure and enjoy your weekend. And she's just like, I will. So I will mute myself. I know that was a lot. Thank you for taking my call.
Dang. School year just started. Much obliged, Bay Area. And then we got another hug. No hugs in the workplace. Man. She told us about the young fella last week having behavioral problems at the school, and she said that they just, throw him in the sensory deprivation room or sensory room, whatever they call it. They just throw him in there and call that he's in his office. I mean, that is so, it does not get any better than tacky. This is not my office. You basically got me in solitary confinement. And it's so normalized. And office is like you're talking about a grown person who has a job. I'm not grown. This is not my job. I'm a child, basically, in solitary confinement. That's the best plan that you got for me. Even if I'm tired and such, can't be. Let me get a pillow. You put a little cotton. Got to verbalize, and then maybe you can get the hammock to lie down in his office. Play around with sex. Your child might be in his or her office. Probably his, because that's privileged black male. Now, the importance of words. If you don't have the words to articulate your needs, problems, that can be an astronomical obstacle to getting your needs met, getting problem solved. Just not having the word. Hammock. That thing, bed, thing, not having the words to articulate, particularly for children, because we just talked about that. Our guest on the program was saying that non-white children lacking the language to articulate racism, white supremacy, they really can struggle from a mental health perspective to even grasp what's happening to them, why it's happening to them, and then being able to articulate all of that. They got it all set up so they normalize all this. Say, so put old Leroy, put him back in his office. If he can remember that, I know personally, I don't think I would have known hammock. That's what that's called. At like 10, 12, or I certainly could see how I might forget that that's what that's called. Oh yeah, hammock. Right. Okay. Man. They normalize all of this tacky treatment that is just, we preparing you for prison and solitary confinement to boot. They said normally, even in prison, they take you out to the mess hall. They line you up and fuss at you a few times, and you better behave, Leroy, and ooh, you gonna get it, and we will nigger knock you if you go in there and get wild in line to get your tater tots and all that. But they let the prisoners go out, I think Mumia Abu, well, I take that back because he's on death, or he was on death row. But I think now Mumia might even get to go out and eat a meal. You got to be like a really tough dude for them to just lock you up and leave you in solitary confinement. Like, oh, no. You got to eat your gruel in solitary. You can't even come out and, rub elbows with your fellow convicts as you eat your corn and soup. Leroy, little Leroy, they leave him in solitary confinement. Say, he just normally eats in there. What? Come on, man. Like, when you play around with sex, that'll be your 11-year-old. Thank God she gets him out so we can go get a little lunch and all the rest of it. Pretends you are a child for a day or two. Just, is this the best plan that we got? He's, again, supposed to be people that got lots of education and training and all the rest of it. Just put Leroy in the storage closet. Yeah, we'll get to him later, next week. That's the same, or this isn't even the same school where they said before it was up. Leroy, I see you back there. That's it. To the blacktop. But it's 100 degrees to the blacktop. Teach you to misbehave. Like, dang, I don't want to go to the blacktop. It's like they having droughts in California and wildfires. They're going to banish me to the blacktop. Always banishing us, man. Anywho, she said that different little fella, they're saying, I guess he's aggressive. I might have some outbursts too if they're going to banish me to the solitary confinement room or to the blacktop or whatever. can't even get my birthday right. She said she, was labeling the little fella's behavior. He's aggressive. He acts out in a very non-constructive, hostile manner towards the other students. And I guess the parents, non-white, they came up to the school and got mad about this, be labeling our child hostile. They'd have him in solitary confinement. Oh, my God. When you play around with sex, man, I mean, really, all of this should be thought about way before you get to the bedroom. All of that, after it's done. And what? You got Leroy in the what room? What? Too late. Too late. Too late. They come in. Bravo to these parents, at least for coming up to the school, because for a lot of folks, they wouldn't do that or whatever. So at least they came up to the school. But they're upset and fussing. And she says, by the end of the day, they're appreciative and grateful for Bay Area mom and her being so patient and working with this child who they know, has got some behavioral issues. Don't we all, in the system of white supremacy racism? But I say and say again, no hugging in the workplace. Whoa. Back up. Watch your space. I dig it. Right. Children are just, we still got the Rona, and particularly in California, like, whoa, we still got the Rona, and, just don't want everybody willy-nilly coming up and pawing and clawing all over top of me. We do what we can, help all the children out. Yes, but yes, let's watch our space. I'm not surprised at all. Once again, seemed like we got more of all eyes on me and anybody who is classified as black in particular, all eyes, indeed, and in the most non-constructive manner. Looking up, did you come in late? You messed that up? We got to write up there. Anything of that nature. That's kind of what it is. So, that being the case, hey, I'm already thinking. Everybody is watching me, even the custodial workers. I'm not getting away with nothing. I got that. On my, as they say, P's and Q's. I know everyone watching me. Not surprised. That's another reason why I'm not trying to show out with my wardrobe and everything prudish. Not looking for any extra attention for my fashion sense or lack thereof. Just clean and professional. We're same thing every day. Get by with the same, Anywho, and yeah, I've heard that too, where people, individuals classified as white instructors, faculty member, even administrators, they will come to these environments with a lot of black children, a lot of non-white children. They're not there to develop plans to help these little people out. Just toss them in the, solitary confinement room. They are there for what resources they can extract. Sometimes you take these jobs and they'll pay off your student loans. Or if you want to go get a master's degree, they'll pay for you to do it while you're teaching there if you teach X amount of years or whatever. So they're looking to extract. They can put it on their resume. I taught, underprivileged Negro youth in California for 3 years and got a master's. Like, oh my gosh, now I can go be, administrator at a big place and get a bigger salary and all the rest of it. So I've seen that, in a myriad of different ways, where who are the people that are really looking to use all that education and training that you're accumulating along the way, sometimes taxpayers footing the bill. Is that really being utilized to help children who need the most help? No, you just give them a fruit roll up, Oreo cookie, stuff them in the junior solitary confinement room. Maybe they get a pillow. Maybe if they can ask for a pillow, they get a pillow. If not, oh well. And then you slide their plate of Oreos under the door. Like, come on, man. That, woo, Shawshank Redemption at middle school. Start to calling them Red. Like, my name ain't Red. It'll grow on you. Let's see. Number is 605-313-5164. The code 564943 pound. Press star 61 if you would like to participate. Nothing funny about having black children in solitary confinement. Nothing funny about that at all. Just, man, plantation laugh to keep from crying most days. Let's see, the email untiljustice@gmail.com. Caller in Florida should be with us as well. Other folks, don't wait till the last minute if you have observations, suggestions to share.
Yes, sir. May I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Greetings to Gus, the host, the listeners, and callers. I was just thinking of some reports that I wrote down in the notes, and I think it was some that I forgot to share. There's a judge who was retired, so he now this one is another one about the elevator. So we were on the elevator, and he said that he, I guess, didn't see me upstairs or whatever. I was going away from B desk, like the assigned desk, and and he knows that I had lost some weight or whatever, trying to, exercise and things like that. And he made a comment and said, "Man, you look great." And then and then just in there, he said, "Man, I really wouldn't want to." He said, "I really wouldn't want to run into you," or something like that. He said, I guess making it seem like I would be violent with either him or someone. It could have been like a Wellsman moment or something. Like talking about black male physique. So I had got off of the elevator, so he was going up to the courts upstairs. So, I said, man, that was interesting. So another day having to deal with the elevator now, I was getting on to the elevator, and a coworker, a black female, she hesitated to get on to the elevator with me. So I just let the door close. I was like, oh, no, I ain't getting on the elevator with him. That's the vibe I got. So that's a report I had wrote down. And another fellow black male that does the maintenance. I was coming from outside, and I was about to close the company vehicle door. And he said, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Good morning and everything, the greeting and everything." And he was like, "Yeah, I got my eyes on you and everything." And I just said, "You take care or whatever, But yeah, he said, I got my eyes on you, So I thought about that all eyes on me, when you were saying that. And the white woman, all right, and the other two victims, they said this black child, because see, the black child now, we see this, or I see this in the area where they come for the passports or copies of records or marriage license. So the black child was with his parents, and just like many other children of young age, they will, start crying or get irritable or want to do what they want to do. And the child wanted the toy, and I guess they took the toy away from the child or something, and the child just started throwing a tantrum, as they say. And the way they talked about the child was, they used the word, the child was being manipulative, and they aren't doing what they need to do as parents to control that behavior. And they went on to talking about someone's son, one of their children, in middle school and saying that he's just not grateful. He always wants clothes and shoes, and materialistic, and all this type of talk that they shouldn't even be getting into. But, you know, the white boys come in there, you know, he want to go and grab on the lamp. He want to move the chairs around. And the white woman, that same one, was saying, oh, he's just being a boy, or he's tired, or he's, you know, he wants to go to sleep. They use different words. And there was, I don't know if I shared this, but one of the white children, I think I did share, but one of the white children was afraid that their mom was going to be, it looked like, in my opinion, the white child was afraid that, you know, the white mom was taking a photograph, and she was just sitting in front of the coworker, my coworker, about to take a picture of someone who was black, and they were apologizing, and she was saying, "Oh, you know, the child just needs to go to sleep," but the black child is manipulative. Okay, so that's one of the things that I was observing, and I have just like one or two more I'd like to share. There was a white person who came in to get a photo taken, and the victim, the black female, was saying that, "Oh, why don't you smile, and you know, you're handsome." And I'm like, I just want to say these types of things. So he said, "Oh, well, you know, I don't feel handsome, and I don't, you know, that hasn't been told to me." And she's like, "Oh," and this white woman is talking about her own daughter, who she made with a black person, offspring, and the child is into cheerleading. She said she took her braids out, and she said, "Oh, did you know it looked like a lion mane, like an animal, like a lion?" So she said the term lion's mane, talking with another white woman who liked to date black males. Okay, and the black female went and talked with this white female, the same one, where they was talking about how the guy appeared and said that I thought he was handsome. He had blue eyes. So the white woman says, "My child said to me, 'Mommy, I wish I had blue eyes like you.'" This white woman said, "I told her, 'Baby, I wish you did too, but God had different plans for you.'" Okay. So, you know, I wrote that down. And that was a conversation that they had this week. And then there was another one where this white woman said she thinks she a white girl. She listening to white girl songs. So just like how she said about the grounded thing, their reactions to those comments don't seem to really, you know, come about like asking to confront her when she says that to them. But yet she's playing rap music, so I'm thinking, dang, well, should you be grounded? She's playing DMX, right? If anybody heard of DMX. So she played a DMX song, and then she turned it off, like it was a ringtone or something. And I'm like, should you be grounded? You know what I mean? So, but that, you know, that's just some observation from the week that I wanted to share. And that's all I have for now. Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Wacky. Got shout out to DMX and Toni Morrison in the same segment. Right on. Caller at the courthouse in Florida. Dang. Yeah. Now, see, that's why I said we got another one with the compliments. I'm not, or my recommendation, no compliments in the workplace. Only compliments are about work. I don't care if someone has lost a lot of weight, they have on a great outfit, new jewelry, whatever it is. No compliments about anything other than the work. Hopefully, they will reciprocate, but whatever. If they don't, you at least focus, if it's going to be any compliments at all, it's about the work. If someone has a compliment for you, really about anything, but especially anything not work related, oh, thanks, and keep moving. Quick as possible. Thanks, keep moving. No detail. Oh, shucks, and I just went, and then, thanks, keep moving. All that, and you see, it doesn't get any better than tacky. It couldn't just be, wow, you lost a lot of weight. You're looking great there, black brother. Full stop. And thank you. That's a beautiful day. That's a beautiful day. We could have went right there and he would have, wow, I'm all right. I'm motivated. I'm going to keep drinking that water, and they come by offering me some foolishness or whatever. Nope. Drinking my water. Beautiful day. Nope. He could have said, hey, black brother, you're looking great. I'm so glad we got that water installed. I bet that's helped you get all fit and stuff for the summertime. See, looking out for our employees. Now, whatever. I've been drinking water long before they got the water cooler, but I do like having the water, and I do see other people drinking more. Hey, maybe it'll encourage other people to drink more water. Win. We'll take that. That's not what he did. We get black brother. Man, looking all fit and trim Cam Newton-ish. Woo, I would not want to bump into you in no dark alley. Woo, beating my hind parts good. I'm a thug. I'm a hoodlum. Can't just be take care of myself. I drink my water. I don't eat a bunch of foolishness. Get some exercise. No, nah. We got what I said. Strapping, blackmail, thug, hoodlum, dangerous, really. I need a stun gun or a shank or something. Oof. No, you out to no good, up to no good. And incidentally, I don't hang out in alleys. Come on. Let's see. And even that's on the sly. All eyes. I done just dropped 5 pounds. Whoa, look at that. You done take the pants in a little bit. You done dropped 2 sizes, haven't you? Wow, that's, my Negroes is fit round. All eyes. See, and that's what I said too. Now, do I really want to go wearing my fit, muscular shirt and showing off my waist, now 4 inches smaller, doing my push-ups and showing off my swollen pet? Do I really want to do it? What did I say? Delectable Negro. Do I really want my white male coworkers? Look at that, Leroy. I'll leave that answer to you. Question. And then I take that as an insult. That's not even a compliment. Like, Jesus Christ, let's keep it. And even another dude commenting, real talk, on the homoeroticism, another dude commenting on weight loss. It should just be quick. You look great, losing weight. I'm going to be inspired. I'm going to put that donut down. All that extra, like, whoa. What? Anyway, doesn't get any better than tacky. We get to the elevator. To be expected. Everybody, really. White people, black people, custodial staff. That's what I do not expect. Correct treatment. I remember I heard Neely Fuller Jr. say, that was one of the first things that I heard him say, and I was a little bit taken aback. And other people were as well. I remember he said this like publicly, and other people were like, wow, what? Like, don't ever expect correct. What in the world? What kind of defeat is? He said, I know, boys and girls, that is a terrible way to think about life, but That is what we have. That is the system of white supremacy racism, where black people are mistreated, smacked around, even killed, dragged out of offices, security called, thrown out all day long. That's the system of white supremacy. That's the plantation, really. Dragged off and sold down the river. They make jokes and cliches about that. That's all day long. So you always expect to be mistreated, often for not doing anything incorrect, just being alive in a system of white supremacy racism. So you get to the elevator, even from other black people, or they got something snide to say. To be expected. And because I expected all that, I'm not with it. You don't want to ride the elevator, but what's wrong with you? None of that. None of that. Go to the floor, move on with the day. They're not my sisters, brothers. We're not a family. Keep it moving. Let's see. He continued now. He said the fella stopped him and took words right out of my mouth. He was getting his Tupac on. So, you know, black brother, got my eyes on you. Yes, sir. Thank you for reminding me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You have a great Labor Day weekend. That's what I thought. That would be 2 times. So do I really want to show off my Negro melanated physique? White men telling me left and right. Been watching you. Checking you out. Paying attention to how much weight you lost, how much water you drink. Sound like Donald Sterling. Remember they said before all that other stuff came out, he was in there watching the black males in the shower. He would bring in his white pals. They would come in and look at all that. Like at the chocolate factory. As such, you know, that would factor into my wardrobe choices for the workplace. But even homoeroticism aside, eyes on you in a non-constrained. That's what I mean about I'm not going to be doing no random petting and feeling in the workplace. He just told me, watching you. I'm not even stealing a paperclip here. Watching you. Thank you for reminding me. P's and Q's, I's dotted, T's crossed. I'm going to be on my counter-racist code. Thank you for reminding me. That's a great reminder. And they come on, we got a half bag of peanut M&Ms. No, thank you. So they do track. The children, he always has fascinating incidents when the children come into the court. Really, any of the jobs you have children, you have to have a code about how you're going to deal with all that. And I remember it even, he had told us before, he had a little black fella came in, I think it was a black boy, came in, and he was crying or doing whatever. And the security even came like, hey, Leroy, now, problem? You hit the panic button if you're going to behave now. I think that happened not too long ago. So then to get all this today where, you know, it's a black child, as you see, you got these, they come in here being manipulative. Like, wow, really? It was all over the toy. Like, dang. He had like a plot. He had some sort of Machiavellian scheme about getting his toy back. Like, wow, okay. I guess sometimes I don't know how old the little fellow was, but whatever. Said he out there manipulating and not even following directions. And see, that's what the young people, they don't have no structure. See, my children do the same thing. They sit around, and this is a black person talking about it. Sounded like her privileged black male child. They sit around here and do all this begging and consumerism. You want all these shoes and Mike Jordan and Ron James, this and all that. Victims guaranteed qualified. Really, it sounds like, let's say, fruit don't fall far from the tree. That's if I was going to get into my metaphors and such. But, you know, hey, whatever. I don't have children. I cannot stress enough. Do not talk about your attempted family, personal matters in the workplace. We've had this before, people talking about they're, you know, getting a divorce and how raggedy and no count their attempted care mate is or was if they're not together. We talking about your offspring and children. Why are you? These are not your friends. These are not your family. Most of these folks are wrong F words. These are foes. Suspected race soldiers. Non-white people who are anti-black. Why are you telling them all of your business and then tearing down your children? We've heard lots of that. People wishing death on black people that are in their attempted family and talking about, my black male, well, this was a white one, but still, just talking bad about black family members and children and all the rest of it. Like none of that. Even if you work with all black people, none of that. Same reasoning behind not having pictures and such of your children or attempted family up in the workplace. None of that. Gee, man, even if your child walks in and hears this, like, what? Mom is in here telling them what? Like, come on. I mean, whew, man, black self-respect, not gossiping, no gossiping. Anyway, I feel compelled to say again, they say fruit don't fall far from the tree. Metaphor. Let's see. So talking about the children, the little black fella is being manipulative and all that. And he said he had remembered times where it was been white children. They came in and being rowdy and loud. Well, boys will be boys, and they got all that energy, and he didn't get his nap, and all of this. The other little fella, that manipulative, scheming scoundrel of the court, and security was going to come in and do all of it. Like, sheesh, man, like, it starts very, very early. I do not have offspring, and it would be so much, even how much of that do you want to subject your children to, and that sort of thing. He's told us when they go to get the passport photos, and they're going to make them smile, and all the rest of it, and the language that they use. Then same type of language sometimes with a black child. Like, woo-wee, look at that scowl. I wouldn't want to see you in no dark alley. Yes, yeah. Let's just get the passport photo. Let's see. She said, speaking of talking about the children, and then once again, I think this was the white person who has a non-white offspring, said that their non-white daughter was manipulating her hair in some manner and looked like a lion's mane. It just doesn't get any better than tacky, like, I don't know what that has to do with the workplace. Why are you telling us this? Same type of thing. Now that you could put with the comment he had said before, where the white woman who also and I think it's a totally different white woman in a sexual arrangement with a black male, and they have children. She said, "Oh, they got the monkeys. I need to get me a few of my monkeys. I had to get my monkeys in line, and then that monkey I got that can't wash his hand. We take care of all that. I need to get me one of them too." Same thing. What? Monkeys? That's what you... And I said that. Yes, that's what they think of us. Apparently, even if they procreate with it, that's what they think of us. You're some kind of monkey. Gorilla. That's what they said about President Obama and Michelle Obama. You're some sort of gorilla, ape, beast, zebra, lion, something. You're not a man. You're not a woman. Not even a child, apparently. Beast. Not my child, even. Beast. Oh, all the kink and, man, particularly around the hair, see? Said, oh, she's got all the kinks and naps. And, oh, just looked like something. And see, the lion, where you find the lion at? The lion isn't just an animal. You find a lion in the jungle. Some sort of wild beast. Oh. Not your daughter? Like, come on. And that's another one. Your daughter walks and she's going to surprise you at the courthouse. We come in early for the Labor Day shindig and got you a little boost from Starbucks and everything. And, oh, my God, she took her kinks out and it just looked like some sort of lion was in my living room. What now? Now, how many blacks? The same thing I said before about when we read the book and they said that the black female had a mop of slick black curls, talking about black hair again. Man, how many people, they going to feel like, wow, what a compliment. Wow. Mom, wow, that's just, I feel, my hair is, wow. mop of slick black curls, or I'm a lion. Rawr. Anyway, and compounded, said the child, non-white, told the mother, I wish I had me some blue eye. Spirit of Toni Morrison. If my memory is accurate, the second book that we read in the Catherine Massey Book Club 12 years ago, Toni Morrison, The Bluest Eye. I remember we read that book. She had not passed on, but she did an interview about that book about 40 years later, and she said, I don't even think that book is relevant now. This was sometime around like 2012, and she did this interview. She said, I don't even think that book, The Bluest Eye, is relevant now because black people have so much pride and self-esteem and self-respect that they don't even think that way now. I said, ooh, victims guaranteed qualified. I don't know what black and non-white people you have been around, Toni Morrison, but I think it's super relevant and will be as long as the system of white supremacy exists. And then acutely, she has a white parent. Oh my gosh. Wish I had blue eyes. And the parent, the response, self-affirming, what? That is crazy talk. Yeah, the number one, can you see? You got an A+ in eyeballs. Like you got nothing to gripe about if you can see. That's number one. If you even got eyeballs, you got people on organ donor lists and all the rest of it. So if you can see, cut all of your griping out. There was no error made there at all. Now, if you really want to even be special, you say that. Guaranteed. You got to. Nothing wrong with your eyeballs. Why do you want blue eyes? And just see what they say. Like, did you see somebody? Do you know somebody with blue? Why do you, what would be different about life? What would be better about your life or existence if you had blue eyes? Sounded like Pecola Breedlove. Have them explain it. Awesome parenting in mind, but we didn't get that though. We didn't get that. We didn't get none of that. We get, Mama, I wish I had blue eyes. Oh, I know. I wish you had blue eyes too. But apparently, God had different plans. Or Satan intervened, one or the other. I don't know. But either way, we were both disappointed. We do the best we can. This is our cross to bear. WTH, man. What? What? That's right up there. Different white women go out in public. My husband, who I had children with, says he's sick. Doctor tells him he might have got infected. That nigger, they ain't washing it. You know you don't wash your hair. And I'm going to go out and say that in public. That's what I said back then. It must be, when you get in these sort of arrangements, annihilation of black self-respect. That has got to be primary objective for everybody here. My children, attempted care mate, all the people that I'm terrorizing as the white person, I'm going to annihilate whatever little shreds of black self-respect they might have. Decimated. I'm just going to dump on them. If that's what they say in public, I wish you had blue. Are you most white people don't even have blue eyes. What do you mean? What do you mean? Is something wrong with you? God made a mistake with you? Jesus. Woo. Woo. That right there would be enough. That's why you don't have anything to say about your children in the workplace. That's how she's talking about her child. They think of their children as monkeys and lions and a mistake from God. Unless that's my misphrase, put that on Gus T. You didn't interpret it, and you didn't hear it, and you misrepresented what he said. Put that on Gus T. But that's what it sounded like to me. That's how they're talking about. You give it to her again. Make sure I'm not maligning what she said. Say it again.
That's on point. That's exactly how the tone of it was.
He heard the statement. That's how they talk about their offspring came out of their womb. Or maybe they had a C-section. Either way. What do they think about your Negro children? And Negro children with 2 black parents? Are you serious? Come on, man. That sort of thing right there. When I was confused about white supremacy racism, that probably wouldn't have meant, a whole lot to me. Somebody saying a statement like that blew out. Now, I did read Toni Moore. I definitely would have, shout out Toni Morrison. But, that is an abomination. Like, what in the... I would not have thought of it in those terms, Dr. Welsing. That is total annihilation of black self-respect. Total. And again, most white people, that is why we have albino affairs, which you are worshiping albino characteristics, melanin deficiency, to have that pale look to your eyes. Why is that something to be sought after when most white people don't even have that? Stunning. And then we go from all that. Now we got the white girl songs. Again, playing white girl. She thinks she's white, playing white girl songs. Talking about her offspring. And then we got the white woman who's also in a tragic arrangement with the DMX on the ringer. Man, wait a minute. I don't even know what to say. I guess, shout out, we miss you, brother. Maybe she miss you too. You got a lot of white people who are Dark Man X fans. But come on now. You same white woman, I think, who was over there telling the non-white female, black female last week, you grounded. And let's say again, you're not a woman, you're not a man. I was confused. It took me a while to even like, what are you talking about? Grounded? What? Are we flying somewhere? Oh, I'm a child. I see. I'm in trouble. I got it. I'm a child, and I'm in trouble because I'm not listening. I guess I should have been listening to DMX. If she had been listening to DMX, she wouldn't have been grounded. I'm listening to white girl, but she, the white woman, I can do what I have, whatever on my phone. I have Uncle Luke bass music. I'm getting ready for my Labor Day weekend. We gonna turn up 2 live crew. We doing it for Florida style. Rick Ross. She could have had Ricky Rose on there too. I'm doing it. I'm like, what? You white? What you doing listening to that? Come on, man. It doesn't get any better than tagging. It sounded like she was self-conscious about it when it popped on. Like, whoa, we ain't supposed to be rough riding in the court. Wait a minute. Okay. Hope they didn't hear that. Turn my DMX on when I get in the car. Like, what? And again, I thought white people were ignorant about black people. But you know about DMX, man. Then passed on and everything. You sent his family your regards. What have you? Pour a little bit out over Labor Day weekend in his memory. Come on, man. Come on. It's all kinds of research. There you go right there in terms of now who spent all that money buying rap records for decades. DMX and Drake and all the rest of it. There you go. And what did she find appealing about DMX? Black male known for performing with no shirt on. Slavish, I might say. Plantational. Delectable nigger. It might even be delectable Negro. Might even be delectable Negro. Consumption. Anyway, Labor Day weekend. If you do, hopefully we have lots of folks who will not be at work on Monday. So you have not have to do anything until Tuesday. You can take that time to get rest, replenish, nourish, hydrate, try as best. Maybe you catch up on your workplace journal and documentation, but man, oh man, if you have time off, use it constructively so that once Tuesday, especially if you're starting a new school year or what have you on Tuesday, try to be as refreshed as you can. If you get a little bit of time off, you can eat some good food. I would say maybe avoid the shindig because it'll probably be a little rowdy, might even be unsafe. You don't want to have to recuperate from your vacation time then once you're ready to go back to work. So, safe, sober, fun weekend. Maybe you can have a teaspoon of fun during that time period. Man, they will have the sobriety checkpoints probably through Tuesday, so for sure, sobriety would be best if you have young non-white people, especially if they're classified as black. I would tell them if they're going out, and this is, we gotta make sure we do it up right in the summertime, if they're going back to school or whatever, hey, get to one spot and stay there. You do not want to be out and about 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, midnight, any of that really. I'd say by 11 o'clock, you should be at one spot and that's it. You do not want to be out and about and bump into random race soldiers, badge or no, anytime between now and Tuesday. And even if you are sober, there will be so many other motorists on the road, highways, all of that who are not sober. That is something to keep or be very mindful of now through at least Tuesday, even if you're a pedestrian. Creator, we ask that you help us remain patient with other black people, victims of white supremacy. We ask that you help us remain patient with ourselves. Remind us to demonstrate the highest levels of black self-respect at all times, in all places, each and every time we are in contact with another black person. It has been time. Replace white supremacy with justice immediately. No gossiping. No throwaway offspring. No name-calling black people. Cow signing out. Thanks all for tuning in.
Nigga, you so brainwashed. I'm a victim, brother. Problem. You're a victim. Man, I'm a victim of 400 years of conditioning. Shut up. The man has programmed my conditioning. Even my conditioning has been conditioned.